Let me present all you guys to Mandi, who's joining me tonight from, or this morning, I should say, from Melbourne. Mandi, what's up?
Wow, it's my first time on Google Hangout. You know, I am joining the 21st century. Thank you for all your...
Awesome. Awesome. So guys, by the end of this event, you'll have the 3 pillars that we talked about on how full-time traders can outperform all the other ones who are on the side, who've been trading for many years and pretty much not making any money. So that's going to be the outcome of tonight, the goal of tonight. And we have a special guest tonight, so that's going to be really awesome. I want to remind you guys, as always, take notes, stay focused. Special guest, which we don't have every single month. And that's going to make it even better. I think 10 times better or more. So I'm super excited about this. So stay focused, take notes. And last reminder, take a break from trading. Okay, if you are trading during this event, there's something wrong. We want you guys to be focused on this and make sure that you get the most value out of these 2 pillars tonight. And actually, quick agenda for tonight. We'll talk about a little bit who we are. I think I've done a lot of introduction myself in the past. I'll let Mandi more talk. We have a lot of people. Awesome. So I'll let Mandi talk a little bit more. We'll do a quick check-in on your beliefs, because beliefs are really important when it comes to trading. Then we'll talk about the 3 pillars that I mentioned both times and how to change your trading result. We'll finish everything up with the Q&A, as always. If you have any question during the event, comment below, and I'm going to monitor the chat so we can go back on those questions. And I think like the best webinars we have are the one where people interact. And I think that makes it much more valuable. It makes it better for you because you can retain more, and makes it better for everyone because they learn more. Okay. So comment with your question at any time, and we'll cover those for sure. Quick reminder, this training is not for people who expect to be given a clear path or clear strategy or like everything to win starting tomorrow or this evening. That's not what we do. We want to teach you guys solid stuff, and that stuff takes time to implement. And if you have no interest in trading, of course, it's not really made for you tonight. Okay. And last thing, if you're not willing to listen, we cannot do anything for you, unfortunately. But that being said, let's introduce yourself. We have a quick disclaimer here. Basically, this is for educational purposes only. And we are teaching the best stuff we know, the things that we know get people result. But just keep it that it's not tailor-made for you necessarily. And just a quick disclaimer right here. Okay. I've done that many times in the past. I think you guys, if you are watching this in the, if you are watching this on YouTube, basically it's on YouTube, you should know who I am a little bit. So I won't go through all of this, but I've been trading since 2013. I've got my first $50,000 to trade in 2016 from someone else. I specialize in trading methodology and psychology, both different places. And you guys know me anyway. I host a podcast, and that's pretty cool. Love traveling anyway. People often ask me around, what was that thing that helped me the most? And I thought I would answer it tonight because you guys, maybe you're not sure about all of this, and maybe you don't know, like you want to take action. And the only thing I did basically is I began to surround myself with more traders. As soon as I did that, I saw like much more success and much more growth coming to me, basically. And I've learned more in one evening with traders than in 2 years of studying online and watching videos and reading blog posts. Okay, I think Mandi can comment on that as well. But yeah, a couple of pictures. So I'll let Mandi introduce yourself maybe so that people get an idea of what you're doing. I know I didn't put how your certificate there. I know you have a lot more. You have accomplished a lot. But maybe just tell yourself what you're all about and what you've been doing lately.
Okay. This photo is a little old, but I have been so busy I didn't have a chance to take a new photo. Oh boy. So I remember this was one of my first trainings that I ran in 2007. And so I started trading in 2002, I believe. It's such a long time ago. I even had to pick up the phone to call my broker. There was no such thing as online trading as yet. And I started by chance. I got into trading by chance because someone gave me a free course seminar that I could attend to, and the next seminar there was trading. I never saw myself as a trader, and when I did this course, I thought, wow, you know, I can do that trading. And I remember it was July when I attended this course, and I was absolutely sure that by the end of the year I'm going to be super wealthy. I'm going to have my Ferrari in the garage, and life is going to be sweet. But everybody who has been trading for a little while know that this is not how it panned out. And funny enough, people said to me in the trading industry, or my trading coach said, it is not that easy. The biggest challenge is to be disciplined. And I said, come on, I'm German. We Germans have invented discipline. And again, it was not as easy as I thought it would be. It turned out, and I know all that in hindsight, of course, at the time I wasn't aware of it, that my personality and my behavioral profiling was actually not suited for being a successful trader. And I had to do a lot of work on myself in order to become the trader I am today. And it took many years for me to figure out what I had to do. And I started out like pretty much everyone. I studied every strategy under the sun. You name it, I've done it. Like, I started with pattern. So I started with options trading, pattern recognition, candlesticks, harmonics, scan, Elliott wave, everything. And it took me a few years to get through all these methodologies, but in hindsight, it was really good because out of every methodology, I picked something that was very suited to my style, my natural style, and I created my own trading strategy out of that. And so, again, at the time, I wasn't aware of it, but what I unconsciously did was I created a strategy that was suited to who I am and who I created myself to be, the trader I wanted to be. And I also traded pretty much, started trading stocks in Australia, started trading American stocks, didn't work, traded Forex, didn't work, and started trading futures. So started trading the S&P, the Dow, the DAX, the XJO. And suddenly I started getting a feel for it. And when I looked at my performance statistics, I realized that the DAX was the product that I was performing best at. So it wasn't that I chose the DAX to trade, it was the DAX chose me based on my performance statistics. And over the years, because I'm hanging out with quite a few institutional Forex traders, I also added Forex to my repertoire, because I learned so much from those guys, how the big guns look at the Forex market very, very differently to what we usually learn in Forex education. Very interesting. So it's been 15 years and I've been coaching for since 2007, so for 10 years now, almost over 10 years. And during my journey, I became an NLP, so Neuro-Linguistic Programming Master Trainer. Neuro-Linguistic Programming, for those of you who don't know what it is, two guys, they wanted to figure out what is the difference between people who become successful and people who don't become successful. A bit like the turtle experiment, where everybody gets the same information, the same context, but only if you make it to become successful. And so in neuro-linguistic programming, we found out that it is certain ways of how we think, what we believe, what our values are in life, that determine what we do with information, if you become successful or if we stay stuck in the rut. And the beautiful thing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think maybe, Mandi, I just want to ask you a question, and I'll take you on the spot right now. But maybe just tell people what differentiates you from all the other coaches out there.
I don't know. I don't really look at other trading coaches. I would say what I hear a lot is to talk about discipline and patience. And discipline and patience is what sells, because this is what people who don't know much about trading psychology think is what they need. But it's the stuff underneath the trading discipline and patience that is required that we need to look at. So what causes a trader to be undisciplined and impatient? And that is the work that I'm specialized in through my neuro-linguistic programming training and through my coaching training. Yes.
Awesome.
And I trade. I know what it feels like to make the mistakes and to lose money and to, do stupid things. Everything that you guys done, I've done 10 times more because I've been trading longer.
Awesome. I like it. Cool. Guys, let's get back to you. But before, I just want to answer a couple of questions I've seen in the chat. So a couple of comments. I know we have 45 people watching now, which is really good. If you guys want to introduce yourself down below, make sure you do it. I'm watching the chat all the time. And yeah, someone was asking how long this is going to last, the webinar. I don't know exactly. We have a lot to cover. Take maybe a long time, maybe not too long, but depends on your question also.
Let's say
Or
about 2 hours we plan
yeah,
for. But we are happy to go
yeah. If
longer
we
if
cover
there's more
everything for sure.
questions.
But we
Yeah.
want to make sure this is of value. So if you guys have any question you want to direct this webinar to, no problem. Comment below and let us know about your question at any time. Let's see. We have a couple of people. NTV Game, what's up? We have Luda, awesome. We have Morocco Trading News, awesome. Mertz, cool. Many people. And Marina, awesome. So let's get back to you guys. Mandi, want to start with a small check-in?
Sure. Let me just. Okay. All right. So let's get started, huh? Now, what I always find interesting, what I would like you to do is to just stop for a moment and to think about your trading career so far. And how do you feel? And what are your thoughts about you as a trader? And be real honest with yourself. Do you believe that you can make a great income trading full time and enjoy the abundant lifestyle that we all dream about? Or do you believe it is possible for others, but not for you? That perhaps you don't have the education, the support, that you're just not lucky like others, that you're not smart enough, that you're too old, too young, not experienced, or even not deserving enough. These are all the thoughts that traders have shared with me when I asked them this question. Or are you certain you will eventually achieve trading success if only you could figure out why you always sabotage yourself? Now, also, if you think of your finances, because trading and finances are closely related, from a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate yourself in the context of your financial health? Now, can I change the slides, or is that what you do?
I'll have to change them for you, but yeah.
Okay.
One question we want to ask you guys is: do you believe you can make it right now? Do you believe you can make a great income as a trader, trading full time, enjoying the abundant lifestyle, and for you and your family, the lifestyle you want? So what we want is comment below and let us know with the scale we gave before. 10, you believe, and 10 being the most, you believe you can achieve this right now. And it doesn't have to be like super high, it doesn't have to be super low. We just want to get a feel of like where you are right now and what you believe about yourself. Because we've said it many, many times, believe are big in trading and in pretty much anything you want to accomplish in life. So that's going to give us a feel, kind of a feel for what belief you have right now about yourself. So comment out of like 1 to 10, really confident I can do it. I really believe I can do it. And 1 believe that's impossible. So comment and let us know in the chat box. Well, we'll move right away so we don't waste too much time, but comment below for sure.
And it doesn't matter
Possibility
where
versus
you're
probability. Yeah, I'll let you talk about that, Mandi.
Okay, so it doesn't matter where you're at. It's about when you know where you're at, then you know what you have to do in order to move forward. And as I said before, I didn't have the personality and the behavioral profile to become a successful trader, but I worked on myself so hard and so much that I achieved my dream. Now, what is really also very interesting is how possible do you believe it is for you to make $100,000 a month net profit? And how about $1 million a month? For many, this seems to be so far out. And the question is,
Yeah, that's gonna make
I beg your pardon?
make people react because $1 million a month or $100,000 a month is a lot, even for me. So
It's a lot, right? Yeah, and even for me. And what I want to achieve with this question is I want you to start thinking outside the square and start thinking, expanding your mind. So if you look at your current financial situation, a lot of traders say my current financial situation, my relationship situation, because I have family, whatever situation it is, we use that as a reason for not being able to succeed. But it is actually only a reflection of where you are right now. It is not the reason why you can't succeed. And this is really important for you guys to get that. If you hope that trading is going to solve any problems, then it will be challenging. If you hope that trading is going to be the answer for you to achieve your dreams and goals, it is going to be challenging because trading is something that's outside of yourself. And you need to start looking at who are you as a person, who are you as a trader, and this hence the question of where are you at in the scale from 0 to 10. Ask yourself, look at your life. Do you actively manage your finance at the moment? And what I mean with that is, are your finances in order, up to date, bills paid on time? Are people paying you on time? Are your savings accounts in the black? Is your trading account in the black? Or is there a lot of chaos in your financial life? Now, this is really important because your financial life will be a reflection of what's going on in your trading life as well. So if you don't pay your bills on time, I can pretty sure say that you will find it hard to take your losses on time. So everything is very closely interrelated. And it gives us feedback on what we have to learn and what we have to work on, nothing else. And look at your trading house. Which room in your trading house needs to be cleaned up the most so that you can start moving forward on that path that Etienne is going to talk about. So most avoid dealing with their trading challenges because they don't know how to deal with it. And ask yourself, how long do you want to put up with this? When are you going to deal with your stuff so that you can have this clean path to trading success? And if not now, when? Etienne, I'm sure you had to ask yourself the same question at some stage, right?
Let's just go back on the result from the question we asked, because there's a lot of people commenting. I think some people are pretty much optimistic, which is good. We have some 7 from Illy, Robert 10. That's cool. Andre 7 also. Formation, okay. We have Abdullah at 6, Craig at 10. Nothing will stop him from achieving his goal. That's awesome. Rob at 9, BJ 8. Cannot comment right now, it's driving. What's up, Jeff? Welcome. At 0, live on planet Earth. And VLT Nomad Trader at 10, but fairly new, so needs more time and information. That gives us a small idea of where people are at.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys. Now, all of you who have been especially commenting with the high numbers, I have a question for you. Have you ever stayed up all night watching every pip, fighting to get out for losing position to at least get out at break even? Or
I've done that many times.
Yeah. Or, have you received your margin calls and then you just keep adding more funds to your trading account rather than dealing with the trade itself and exiting the trade or do whatever you need to do to manage the trade rather than trying to fix it by adding more funds? Now, if you have done that, don't get upset about it. Simply get curious on how to change this. Because then what happens is, we do this, we have the losing trade, and we're like, I will be a great trader from now on, right, Etienne?
Of course, that happens a lot. And that's something that I've told myself so many times, like pretty much every week at some point. And ultimately, what people have to realize is that much. Like, people don't succeed because they don't have the right strategy. Working their strategies. That means there's a difference between trading the plan, trade, and trading the plan. Those are 2 different things. And we think that we can do both at the same level. Like, I'm going to plan like my strategy and then trade it. But the traded part is not as simple as we think. And that's basically a question of mindset and belief. That's why we ask you guys in the beginning about your belief. And if your mindset and your belief are kind of reduced, of course it's gonna be hard to kind of progress and keep going because you're in the wrong place from the beginning to understand. And what's gonna happen with this is that you're gonna fast forward a little bit. You tell yourself, I'm gonna be able to be a good trader from today because I know what it takes. I'll do all the right action from today. But fast forward that a little bit, and then you get to where it doesn't work.
Exactly. And then when you realize that it doesn't work, then you realize that you have to retrain your thinking, that you have to retrain your mind, because your most powerful trading tool is not your trading strategy, your moving averages, your charts, and your bars. It is your mind. And what makes trading so difficult is scientific research has confirmed, has proven that the way your brain processes information naturally is actually stopping you from making good financial trading decisions. And I always have this joke, right, where I say, whoever invented trading must have known a lot about human psychology, because what they did is they looked at the psychology of humans and how they naturally make decisions and how they naturally interact with the world. And then they created the trading arena exactly the opposite way. So it's a bit like ballet, right? Our bodies are not made to perform in ballet. You know, I don't know, our hips are not made to have our feet pointing outside. But we have to train our body so much that we are able to do that. And trading is the same. We have to train our mind to do what we are not naturally wired to do. Now, the question that I asked myself for many years is why, with all the training available online, with funky technology like EAs, high-speed internet, sophisticated trading software, why is it that the stats still haven't changed since the 1990s when Richard Thaler first did his research and identified that over 97% of traders, retail traders, are losing money? And the last stats were done in 2016, and it was still 86% of retail traders are losing. Has improved a little, but still, not good enough, in my opinion. I mean, this is why there's so many brokers and so many rich brokers, because on average, every trader lost about £2,000. Now, we all know what to do, and it's the goals that we set based on what we know what to do, and yet we are not doing what we know. We know how to behave, but we don't get ourselves to do exactly that. And the question is, what is the gap? And again, this is the reason why we decided to hold this webinar and why we run trainings, because there is so many traders who are in pain around their trading. And I know, again, guys, I get your DMs on Twitter and I get your emails, and it's heartbreaking stories. And some traders that say, I would be so much more successful if only I had more money. And I can tell you it's not the money, because even if you were to get $100,000, you would turn $100,000 into nothing. Only if you have learned to turn $1,000 into $10,000, then you can start looking at bigger accounts. Others, they're so unhappy with their lives. They hate their lives so much that they hope that trading will be their savior. And so, I came to think there's so much more to it, because if one part of being impulsive and having compulsive behavior is the urgency to get out of our crappy lives, so wanting to escape a boss who's not nice, wanting to have more time freedom, wanting to enjoy life more. And because of that, we become so impatient, and then we do the stupid things. This is pretty much one of the gaps. Now, in fact, I know most traders work really hard on their trading, but the thing is they don't do what needs to be done simply because they don't know what it is that need to be doing in order to set themselves up for success. So what I don't want to do here today is I don't want to give you a theory on what it is that successful coaching is. I want you today to be able to walk away and saying, this is something that I can implement. And not just, oh, that was interesting, but something that's pragmatic, that is useful, that is actionable right now. And what I want to give you is an understanding of what is it really that causes traders to not perform. What is the level that you have to work on? And when you don't perform in your trading, most probably you won't perform in your personal finances, personal relationships, whether it be with your partner or in friendships, any situation really. So trading is really just a mirror. It's a reflection of what else is going on in our lives. And this is good news as well, because often when we can't grasp the problem in trading, all we need to do is look at our day-to-day life, where it's so much more logic to us, and we can work on these areas, and that will have a domino effect into our trading. Because we all know that the success of our work environment, which in this case is trading, is heavily influenced by how we are in our private lives. So if your private life is a financial mess, or is deeply sucking in terms of relationships, you're lonely, you feel you're not living up to your potential, that will have an impact in your success in trading. So I want to show you how it actually works. So these picture these two circles. I don't know. Can you see my mouse? Or can
No,
you
they're
see
not
my
gonna be
mouse?
able to see, but they can see
Okay,
the
cool.
circles, or
All
they
right.
can see
So
my mouse at least.
okay, cool. So the what are these circles? So the circle on the left or on the front is what represents your problems, your experiences, your stories, the stuff that you write into my DM, the emails when you tell me what's going on in your trading. It's our problems, our issues, all that stuff. So the core of the story you have in your life, the story you have in your business, in your trading, about love, about money, about health, why it is that you can't have what you want, why you can't succeed. And this is where the problems lie. Now, one thing I want to be very clear on is that, and I think that one thing that I notice is I'm not here to solve your trading problems here today, but I'm here to help you resolve the thinking that created your problems in the first place. That is very, very different. So I saw a tweet recently. The guy said, Twitter or social media, I notice social media is really, really bad for my trading performance. But the thing is, it is not social media that is bad for his trading performance. It is his mindset. It is how he feels about social media and him not being able to take feedback that was not good for his trading performance. Because I can tell you one thing, if he were solid in his thinking, if he fully believes in himself, in his trading strategy, in his future, no matter what people say on social media, it would not touch him at all. So I'm here to explore with you how the heck you created your challenges in the first place. And we are here to learn, and what I'm here to introduce you to is the circle in the back. That is what is really interesting to me as a coach, because this is the background of what thrives your self-sabotaging behavioral patterns, what thrives you not being able to take your losses, what thrives you taking your profits too quickly, being impulsive, being compulsive. These are this is the area where the work has to be done, not looking at why am I fearful, why am I not patient and disciplined in my trading. So if there's 200 of you in this training today, there will be 200 of these circles in the front. But the exciting thing is, even though there's 200 different experiences with your trading, you all will have the same circle, the one in the back. So the patterns, the codes that actually unveil and decode your sabotaging behavioral patterns, they are all the same, because we call them the universal codes. They will all be the same for each and every person, no matter what your social background, what your cultural background, which part on this world you're from. We all have the same universal codes, the patterns that drive all our behavior and hence our results in life. Now, when you start becoming an expert in yourself, only then you're learning on how to become an expert in your trading. And this is really exciting, because in this circle, the one in the back, it has taken me years and years and years literally to learn all of this. I mean, 15 years I've been working on myself. So to put it into practice with my own trading, with my own finances, with my own relationships, and with my own life, and then to deliver it, to train it, to coach it, to evolve it, and to speak it, it has taken me years. And during the hour or 2 hours that we have today, all we have time for is a tiny little bit, but I can promise you that tiny little bit will put so much light into the tunnel of your trading straight away that you can apply it straight away as well. So, and as we close the session later on, Etienne will explain to you also how you can access more of this and what it is that we're going to actually cover here. Now, the patterns and the codes, the decoding, that is what you're looking to learn, okay? That is a really important bit.
Awesome. I feel people will have a lot of questions about that topic. It's super interesting,
Okay.
even for me. So we'll move forward, and if people have questions, just make sure to comment below and let us know, because that's going to be a lot to cover for sure.
Yes,
Super
yes.
exciting. We'll jump into the 3 pillars now. Those are things that I finished sharing in the podcast a few weeks ago, a few months ago, when Mandi came to talk about the 3 pillars, and those are really powerful. So I think it's important to recap and bring those back again tonight. So we'll go through all of them, like all at once and separate, and we'll talk about some strategies for all the pillars. Those are the 2 pillars, and Mandi can go with that to share what they're all about.
Okay, So the 3 pillars to trading success, it's really something that I, a strategy that I made up in how I need to work with my traders. And I did this, I developed this strategy. It's basically a 3-part training where I looked at what are the areas that make a successful trader. So I looked at successful traders and looked at what is it that they have in place that they do naturally that helps them to succeed in life. And also then I looked at what is it that I needed to learn for myself in order to succeed in my trading. And what I see is that there are some traders who trust themselves and do that, and their trading cranks up easily. They do 10K or more in a month repeatedly and consistently. And then there are other traders who are literally given everything they need and they never ever make it. Now consider this: if you don't even want to follow the trading methodology and deal with your self-imposed limits and deal with your self-sabotaging behavior patterns, deal with your mindset challenges, you're really declaring, I have no intention of doing well in trading. So if you see that you find it hard to press that mouse button to exit a losing trade, and you keep Googling, how do I become more disciplined? You have no intention to do well in trading because you're not dealing with a real problem, the pressing the mouse button. That's all you have to do. You're looking for what we call a safe problem, something that keeps you stuck. So you pretend to trying to solve your problem, but you're not really. And it's not about your patience, and it's not about your discipline either. It goes so much deeper than that. And this is what the trading mindset is all about. I do this work, it's coming up to my 11th year now. And I'm telling you, it goes so much deeper than that. And the question you need to ask yourself is, what is the source of this lack of performance? And so Etienne and I, we also sat down and we asked ourselves, what is the difference, what is going on for traders? And we shared our experiences because Etienne has been working with a lot of traders as well. And also, all his interviews, man, they're amazing. So it's literally like the famous turtle trader experiment where you're given everything and some go on become widely successful and others stay stuck on the tarmac wondering why the plane hasn't taken off. And when it comes to trading psychology, there are only so many ways you can say be patient, be disciplined, keep a journal, analyze your performance statistics, constantly seek to improve. And yet traders don't do it. And the question is why? If that is the very thing that makes you succeed, what is it that stops you from not doing that one thing? And so, and this is what our training today will be also all about. And you can simply not say, I don't have the right strategies, or I'm not getting the right support, because I can tell you guys, I have worked with traders who didn't have any of that. They didn't have the tools, they didn't have the support, they had the crappiest childhood ever, and yet they became phenomenal traders against all odds. And then there's the traders who have all they need. And you can't say it's the resources, it's got to be what's within us. And when you get that, then you start focusing in the right direction. Instead of looking outside of yourself for the next Twitter trader to follow, the next tool, the next tip, you start looking inside and looking at your mindset. Now, the trading mindset is really about how do you believe deep down inside how you can succeed. And it's important that you're being honest, because what we often do is we try to placate ourselves, we try to make ourselves better. We all have heard about this positive psychology. You need to be positive and you need to believe in yourself. But to be honest, if I feel crap about myself and I feel like there's something wrong with me and I can't succeed in trading, no matter how much positive thinking I stack on top of that, it will still be rotten underneath and nothing will change. And this is why we need to deep dive into what is it that we believe about ourselves, about the world, about trading, that makes us prove to ourselves that we can't do it. What does it take to start proving to ourselves that we can actually do it? And the next one is the money mindset. So money mindset and trading mindset are closely related. Money mindset is really 2 parts where, again, what is your beliefs with money, around money? What is your values around money? how do you feel about money? Do you want to get rid of your money straight away? So if you, let's say you're a PAYG and you get your income, do you spend your income straight away so you don't want money to be around you? Or do you keep hoarding money? That is a sense of scarcity. You have to hoard it because you're afraid that there will never be enough. What is it that you do? Do you use money to make yourself feel better because you feel so empty inside? All these will give us clues about your ability to deal with losses and also deal with your profits. And money mindset is also important in terms of prudent thinking strategies, because I don't know about you, but I have not been trained and have not been taught on how to make prudent financial decisions. And especially reading the book Thinking Fast and Slow from Kahneman was a total eye-opener for me, where I'm like, wow, this is so interesting. I make really bad financial decisions. So to give you one example, I used to buy this favorite bottle of wine on the weekend. Let's say it was $15. And then there was a really nice bottle of wine. It was $50, was reduced half price, $25. And I would be thinking, wow, I saved $25 and I would feel really good buying this bottle of wine and thinking that I saved $25. And this is imprudent thinking strategies. And that would show up in my trading as well. Because the reality is that my income is fixed and I would spend $10 more than I would usually spend. And yes, there's the emotional payoff as well of having a nicer bottle of wine. But if you look strictly financially, to spend $10 more of a fixed income is not a prudent trade. It's not a prudent financial decision-making process. Now, this is very similar to adding to losing positions or doing martingale, where you're in a losing trade and then price moves further against your trade, and you say, "Wow, now I can get in at an even better price," but price keeps moving against your trade. And we see that at the moment with the markets going gangbusters, just moving up and up and up, and everybody who's starting to short, thinking now is a good area to short, and the price keeps moving up. Now is a good area to short, and price keeps moving up. This is very similar. And the next one is performance metrics. Yeah, performance metrics is really, that was a game changer for me. So I was working with Steve Ward in 2011, and I know he's on Etienne's podcast. I'm very excited about that. You guys need all to listen to Steve. He's amazing. He's like the most generous person ever. He's a really nice guy, amazing guy. And Steve introduced me to performance metrics, and one of his books, High Performance Trading, that was such a game changer for me. I encourage you to buy this book, and hence one of my companies is called, or my company is actually called High Performance Trading, because it was inspired by him and his book and how my life changed after learning about performance metrics. And Etienne will talk about that later as well, because Etienne loves performance metrics as much as I do. We are like performance metrics crazy people. So what performance metrics does is, it's utterly painful if you don't perform. It's kind of like when you look in the mirror and you haven't worked out. Like, I have been working so hard in the last few months because there's been so many trainings going on, so many private coaching sessions required, and then I trade full time as well, right? So I'm trading professionally as well, that I didn't get out much. I don't want to look in the mirror because, you know, I'm not as toned as I would like to be. And it's the same with trading. If we don't perform well, we don't want to look in the mirror at our performance statistics because it's uncomfortable, it's painful. But when we have been training much, you know, I've been going for my run on the beach every day and working out, and I look good and I feel good, I can't stop looking in the mirror. And against the same with performance metrics, I can't stop looking at my metrics when things are going well. But the time we need to look at the metrics is when things are not going well, because if you didn't have your profit and loss, how would you know how you're performing? And profit and loss means nothing about your performance. It could be luck that, you know, you just go long and the market just keeps running up, but it doesn't mean anything about how good a trader you are. So performance metrics shows you what is the weakest link in your trading. What is it that you need to work on? What is it that you need to change? And it also shows you what is your strongest link in your trading. What is it that you need to do more of?
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Powerful. We'll get to pillar number one. And this is a quote. I think Mandy introduced me to that quote, but I love the quote. Until you can manage your emotion, don't expect to manage money. And that's something that you kind of have to learn the hard way. I used to think that trading for other people was the same way as trading for myself, but there's a lot more emotion that come in when you trade for other people. And the same thing applies here. So we'll talk about the first mindset, and I won't dive too deep in it because Mandy is going to do a great job with talking about that pillar. So Mandy, pillar number one, trading mindset.
So basically what trading psychology is about, the study of how to manage our emotions. And in the past, it was always spoken about that we have to cut off from our emotions, that we should trade without emotions. And now with MRI scans and all the technology available to study what's going on in our brain when we do trading decisions, it has proven that emotions is really what is helping us to make the best decisions ever. So what we're going to talk about is the emotional guidance system and how you can use your emotions to make better trading decisions rather than sabotaging your trading. And this is then feeding into how to eliminate your self-sabotaging behavior. Also how to develop mental toughness, because trading is uncomfortable. It's like getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and going for your run because you said so, when it's nice and cozy in your bed, but you know it's freaking cold and raining outside. So developing mental toughness is doing what you don't want to do. And hence, when you have developmental toughness, you learn how to become more disciplined. And discipline is more, if you look discipline as an isolated topic, it is doing what you don't want to do. But once you develop your mental toughness, it's not a question about discipline anymore. You just do it. You don't even question it. You don't argue with your little voice in the morning when you have to get up at 5 o'clock. You just do it because you said so. And so it becomes more inspiration than discipline. And in order to become inspired, you need to look at what your limiting beliefs are. If deep down, I was working with a trader yesterday, and she got told by her mother that she shouldn't make any promises because she doesn't keep them anyway. And mind you, my client, she is 45 years old. She has been battling with success her whole life, and she did not know why. And you know, she would always promise herself to lose weight, to do the healthy thing, to become a better trader, and she would sabotage that like crazy. And when we did something which is called deep state repatterning, which is one of the neurolinguistic so NLP methodologies, we dived deep down, and she realized, wow, you know, I have been told I can't be trusted and I don't keep my promises anyway, so what's the point? And once she had the awareness of it, it was like the shackles were being taken away from her, and she was so excited. And so let's see how she's going in the next month. We're going to monitor how she's changing, how changing this limiting belief or unearthing it even is going to help her to be disciplined, but more because she's inspired and not because she has to fight herself all the time. Yeah, very exciting.
Awesome. So in short, guys, trading psychology is all about how you manage yourself so you can create better trading result. And that's what we talk about from now on. So we don't do trading psychology only for fun because we like it. We do it because we want to get better trading result. And that's all there is to it. But once we understand the principle that this leads to better trading result, and like from the start, not everyone knows that. Like some people hear trading psychology and they think it's boring. They don't want to hear about it, right? But once you understand the link between better trading result and better psychology, only then you can start to move forward and start to apply the principle we'll talk about. This is interesting. How not to achieve your trading goals.
And you know, you raised a really good point, because as I said before, I was so certain that I won't have the problems everyone else had because, you know, I was so special. And I get that from a lot of newbie traders as well. They think they're special and they won't have the challenges that everyone else has. And yeah, life doesn't work this way. They will have the challenges as well. Some more than others, but yeah. So how to not achieve your trading goals is ask yourself, have you ever jumped into a trade impulsively and compulsively? Now, one reason that I figured out is that makes people having this impulsive and compulsive behavior is because they have been stuck at work and they have this inner void that feels so empty inside. And then they come home and they want to feel good, because trading makes us feel good, doesn't it? It really hits everything that we want in life. It's exciting, it makes us feel special, it gives us a purpose in life. So we can't wait to get back to the trading screen. And then what do? We jump into the market to get that feel good feeling. But it doesn't last that long, does it? Because when we have behaved impulsively, then usually the trades are not working out well. Now, what then happens is we have a losing trade and we add to it. And one of the biggest mistakes that traders do, and not only the retail traders, also the institutional traders, the professional traders, over leveraging your account. You don't know how many times I see traders, they have an amazing technical setup and they know how to read the markets. And then they get so this urge to make money quickly because they want to buy a house for their mother or want to take their family on a vacation, that they over leverage themselves, they bump out before their trade can play out. It's crazy, right? Have you moved your stop loss to break even? This is also really interesting because it's the reasoning of now you can't lose, but it's not about moving your stop loss to break even. It's your reasoning that's faulty here. So that goes back to prudent decision making, prudent thinking processes, where if you, let's say you're in a $1,000 profit, right? And then you say, I move my stop loss to break even. And it's just about the thinking process, right? It's not about the stop loss. And now I can't lose. Even if it goes back, I can't lose. Now, if you were to take your profit in that very moment and you put on a new trade, and now your trade goes back to where your break even would have been, you would not experience the same experience. You would not think that you have nothing to lose. You would experience it as a loss. And this is what we call mental accounting in behavioral finance. Now, the next one is, do you try to go for the home run far too often? And I see that all the time, and I did that myself, where we are in a good profit and we think there's more in it, and we want to have it all. And this is when the market turns around. So we stop focusing on what does the market tell us. We stop focusing on looking at the technical aspects or the fundamental aspects of the market. We start focusing on, I want to have this big profit. And you don't know how many traders are being shaken out of their really good trades because they don't read the market, but because they want it all. And again, it doesn't work this way.
I like it. Just to mention a comment we have from John, and I think that's really applicable to that part also, the pressure to make money. So if you have a big pressure on yourself to make money, like if you need to pay the bill, like forget it, it's going to be tough. Or if you push yourself that like you need to make it starting today, like you need to become successful starting today. It's kind of a pressure you put on yourself and it doesn't have its place in trading. So I think that's a good comment, John.
And it's a really good point because, I know what I did when I got out of my trading course. I told everyone that I found the Holy Grail to my life and I'm going to be successful really, really shortly. And I told my family and everyone. So the pressure was on. And when I didn't perform and I didn't have a nice car in my driveway after 6 months, it was humiliating because people do make comments and they judge you. It's just, deal with it.
Yeah, awesome. And another good comment from Luder. Can I move the stop loss to halfway from original? This is going with the thing you mentioned about stop loss, and like moving a stop loss to break even. I think that there's nothing wrong with that if you have this in your plan. But the point is that if you do it only to feel comfortable, much risk, then it becomes a problem. I think that's what you meant, Mandi, right?
Exactly. So it's the reasoning behind. Maybe moving your stop loss to break even is a smart thing to do. Part of your trading strategy, maybe using a trailing stop loss is the smart thing for you to do. That is not the point, right? So the point is, what is your reasoning for doing that? And if it is
Yeah.
something so that you don't feel bad rather than a hardcore technical logical approach, that is the difference. Yeah.
If it's like on an impulse that you feel, oh, let me move my surplus, like I don't want to get in this trade anymore, and that's a problem right there.
Exactly, that's the one.
Well said. Awesome. I think we have another rookie mistake.
So it's this loop that can never be broken out of. So traders say, I don't feel confident. And then I say, okay, so what do you need to feel confident? And they say, well, once I have a few profitable trades under my belt, then I feel confident. But on the flip side, they say to me, I can't be successful in trading, and I can't make profitable trades because I don't feel confident. Can you see how they're stuck in this ever-repeating loop? Now, confidence is
Yeah.
just a feeling. Confidence has nothing to do with reality. I don't know about you, but I have been confident many times and then I fell right flat on my face because, I had no reason to be confident. Confidence is just a feeling, something that we tell ourselves that has nothing to do with reality. So often I'm not confident and I do what I need to do, but I'm confident in my behavior in terms of keeping my stop losses, doing my money management. So even if I'm wrong, then I don't need to worry because I know that I do the risk management that I need to do. So, for example, when I got a nice car, which was quite powerful, I was a bit worried to drive this car, but then I did driver's training. And in driver's training, we learned how to handle our cars in a scary situation. So what you do when you get on an oil slick, and oh my God, it's so scary. I actually got car sick being on this oil slick in my car, turning like crazy. I'm not doing so well with motions. I get motion sick very easily. So, and what do you do if someone steps right in front of you, and how quickly can you stop? What do you do when your car spins out of control? What do you do? So you train, you practice that. I wasn't born with that. And I trained and practiced to react quickly in dangerous situations. And it's the same with money management. We need to train and practice how to behave when the market moves against our position and use our money management. Yeah. So this is where the confidence needs to lie, not in our ability to trade. I hope that makes sense.
Powerful. Absolutely,
Yeah.
I think so.
And
Maybe I just want to go back on the stop loss thing
sure.
because someone is still commenting on that Twitter.
Sure.
So yes, position sizing of course is really important because if you trade too big and it's not gonna rise or anything, it's gonna be too hard to keep going. But the point is that moving a stop loss to break even is fine. And the question is, should you do it or should you not do it? I think that's gonna depend on your plan and kind of what trade you take. It's more technical. I do it personally when I get to 1-to-1. I move myself to break even. I only take partial profit. It's a different way for me to do so because I realized over time that my stop was hit too often, and that was unprofitable. That was a way for me to kind of being in a risk-free trade, but over time it's not profitable. So you need to figure out based on your testing and based on your everything you've built, is it worth it? Is it a good strategy for you? Maybe, maybe not. That really depends. And we have Arlie. Arlie's at this is interesting for you, Mandy. I think Arlie's saying most traders are told to find what works best for them, trade what works for you, and then later they're told 95% of traders fail. So, do you think the traders who fail, they've done something that's worked for them, or no? I personally think that the reason why people fail is because they do something that doesn't work for them. But maybe you tell me, maybe it's a different thing. I don't know.
Well, they when they did the research, so Professor Tyler did the research in 1990. They clearly pointed out what it was that made those traders fail. And then again, in the 2016 study, was the same thing, and there was clearly laid out what the problem were. And it was, surprise, surprise, letting your losses run, cutting your profits short. And it was most of the time, no matter how many successful trades in a row a trader had, there was this one blowout trade that killed them. So it's always the same thing. It comes back to understanding ourselves. It comes back to training ourselves. It comes back to having a trading strategy that works. So, for example, what we're going to talk about as well down the track is how to know yourself so well that you know what kind of strategy you need to use. So I'm a brilliant scalper, and I'm really bad at long-term trading. Again, I try to get into a long-term position to go short on the DAX, and I got shaken out. But my short-term trades, they're performing like world champions because the DAX is so volatile, and it suits me. It suits my personality. It suits, I'm really quick, making decisions. And also, I used to be a show jumper on a horse. So if you look at show jumping, it's like scalping. So you focus on this one obstacle, and you accelerate, you jump, and then you relax, and then look for the next obstacle. Whereas when you do dressage, for all you guys who hopefully know something about horses, dressage is something that you do for over a longer time frame, like 20, 30 minutes, 1 hour. So if I had been really good in dressage, which bores me to death, I don't like dressage at all, then I would most probably be a longer term trader. So whatever we do in our private lives gives us an indication of what we are best suited at in our trading environment as well. What sports do you like? What behavioral profiling are you? What energy? Are you a high D, high C, high S, high I? What does it take for you to improve on one area? So I'm very low in my C, in my natural tendency to be organized and to keep my performance statistics, but I trained myself to be really, really good at that because I knew I had to in order to succeed at trading. Yeah. So
Love it.
I hope that answered your question.
Yeah,
Got
love
lost
it.
a bit,
And
sorry.
I think one of the things is that new traders don't take the time to look at, and we'll talk about that later on today. But most new traders don't think about what they're good at and what they're bad at and what they need to focus on. I think that's a big problem because they only search for strategies, like you mentioned in the beginning. They only Google like how to trade profitably, and that's not the way to go. Because you never get to understand what you are and what you really are good at.
Which in sport, funny, we wouldn't do, right? If you are a runner, and you will naturally look at, are you built to be a marathon runner, or are you built to be a sprinter? But in trading, we don't do that. We are so excited. So yeah, eventually everybody has to get to this point. And that brings us to our blockages as well to trading success.
Yeah, awesome.
So most of our self-sabotaging behavior plays out unconsciously in our trading, obviously, because if it were conscious, then we knew what to do and how to change that. And there's 4 blockages that we have identified. It's the spiritual, the mental, and the emotional blockages. And that usually manifests in our physical realm. So if I have blockages around money, then that shows in my physical world that I can't afford a nice car, or I keep losing money in trading, or I can't pay my bills, or whatever it is, right? If I have blockages about humans, about other people, limiting beliefs about other people, that will show in my relationships that I don't have deep, open, trusting, loving relationships. So whatever our physical world shows us is a reflection of what's going on inside of us. Now, spiritual it's really the blueprint of your blocks that stops from letting that stops you from letting your profits run and cutting your losses short. So your blueprint is, again, it's your beliefs, your values, what's important to you in life. I hear a lot of traders saying, my family is so much more important to me than money. And then I say they have to be kind of equal, because money is nowadays the thing that helps us to survive and helps us to live a fully functional life. It's just the way it is. But if you say family is more important than money, then you most probably don't make the money to give your family a really good life. But if you say money is more important than your family, well, your family will miss out on you. And I have that a lot with really successful people. They have put so much energy into making money that they get to this point in their lives, they're like, oh my God, what happened? My kids grew up. My wife is not interested in me anymore. She's, you know, finding her own feet in life, and there's no family as such at all. Yeah, so this is the blueprint really of what is running our behavioral patterns that create the results that we have in life. And then there's the mental, the thinking strategies. This is what I mentioned before, where we have to train our cognitive faculties for making more prudent trading decisions, because we're not trained in this. And I always thought, my brother, he's extremely successful, and for many years I struggled, and I thought, what's the difference between him and me? He's, you know, he's always better, but it wasn't that, it was a limiting belief. My brother is a lawyer, he is trained in thinking prudently. And when I realized he only has training that I didn't have, he started playing chess at a very young age. I didn't do that, I was always hanging out with my horses. So very feeling based, brother really thinking based. I realized that my feeling based is useful for trading in terms of my intuition, but I needed to crank up my cognitive faculties. I needed to learn how to think, how to make prudent thinking strategies. And hence I started studying thinking fast and slow, looking at my performance results and so on. And then there's the emotional blockages, where why is losing money so painful? And why does it empower us so much? Because money is so emotionally charged for most of us. And most importantly, how can we claim back our power, where money becomes just a means to creating the life that we want to live, and doesn't have the power over us, where money is the be all and end all of how we feel about ourselves and how we think other people feel about us. And the physical manifestation is then how all of these play out in our life and in our trading. If you're doing well in trading, you know that your three other dimensions are quite balanced. If you have challenges, you know you don't need to work on the external areas, so the physical, you need to look at the spiritual, mental, and emotional areas of your life.
Nice. Now we'll talk about the 8 common mindset challenges, and those are some things that I've experienced myself along like many times before, and I think some of you guys will relate to that. So I'll let Mandy talk about that because it's really powerful. But let's
And
get
of
with the
course,
first one.
yep, I have done all of that myself, and I also see it in my clients. So everything that I'm sharing with you guys, most probably I have done myself, or I have learned it from my clients, that these were the problems that most traders experience. So of course, when we start out, we look at perfecting our trading strategy and ignoring trading mindset. You don't know how many times I've heard, I always thought that trading psychology is something for wimps. It's, you know, I don't need trading psychology. And then I realized maybe I should have a look into trading psychology as well. So, and I did the same, you know, how I shared with you before. I studied every trading methodology under the sun, and it was a good thing in hindsight, but it wasn't. If I had looked at who I am as a person, what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses? How are my strengths suited for trading? How are my weaknesses interfering with my trading goals? Then I would have succeeded so much faster. So it's not one or the other, it's working on both at the same time. And the next one is the famous FOMO, fear of missing out. Now, the fear of missing out, again, traders, they come and say, can you please teach me how to be disciplined and how to be patient, how to be less impulsive and compulsive? The fear of missing out is really one big title for many little different behaviors that we do. I created something which is called the critical moments, and I'll talk about that later on, where I looked at what are the main reasons of me making mistakes in trading, and most of it was the fear of missing out. And then I had to look at where in my life do I do that as well. And boy, there was a lot of fear of missing out, you know, fear of not getting a seat when I had to take a bus. So I would make sure that I get onto the bus as the first person, instead of like, you know what, if I don't get a seat, I stand. It's actually doing me quite good as well. So fear of missing out plays out everywhere in our lives. And start looking at that first and then see how that applies in your trading. Unrealistic expectations. Again, this is how I started out, thinking that I'm going to have a Ferrari, or I didn't want a Ferrari. Have a Mercedes little AMG. That was what I wanted in my garage 6 months later. It is unrealistic, but it's also what we see in all the marketing. So the more marketing you see with funky cars and funky girls like if you look at Tai Lopez, which is a very famous marketer with all the girls and the cars and the helicopters, unrealistic. He attracts a certain kind of people who will never ever make it because they don't look at themselves, to look at the externals, what they can get. And the unrealistic expectations, it's also because we feel so bad about our lives. We want to escape the shackles of our lives. So we have these unrealistic expectations of, instead of it being a process of transitioning out into a life that we design, that we create, that we work hard for, that it all will be easy to achieve. Yeah, very unrealistic. Then the next one is the emotional fatigue, where again, perfecting trading strategy or studying so hard, I didn't look after my health. And I see that with so many traders that don't look after themselves. And then, let's say they get really tired and they go to bed, especially for us here in Australia, where most of the action happens during the night. And then we say, oh my God, I missed out on this amazing trade. But the reality is, even if the amazing trade would have set up and you had emotional fatigue, you would have done everything that you could to sabotage your trade, because when you're tired and exhausted, you can't perform well. Unless you have trained like an SAS soldier, where you train to perform at the highest, even under emotional fatigue. But you don't want to train yourself to do that in your trading, right?
Yeah, even then it's kind of too intense.
Yeah, intense. We don't need to do that. Thank God. Good point. Outcome-based versus process-based performance. I'm sure you guys have read that before, and we talk about that in our performance statistics part, where traders look mostly at their profit and loss. The most you look at, have I made money? Great, I feel amazing about myself. Have I lost money? Crap, I feel bad about myself. That is not getting you anywhere. What you need to look at is process-based performance, saying, what did I do well today? And have hardcore statistics, and don't go based on your feelings. So many times when I start working with a trader, I say, so how did you do today? They say, oh, I did okay. And I say, well, based on what? Well, it feels good. So feeling doesn't tell us anything. Where are your hardcore stats of your performance? That tells us what to do. The next one is learned helplessness. So learned helplessness is really about when we grow up, then we are being brought up in a patriarchic family and dynamics, most of us. It's, do what your father says, and we have to do what our parents say. And so we rarely learn to take charge of our lives, to become responsible, fully functional human beings. And if you are in a trade, in a losing trade, and you find yourself not taking your loss, and then you feel frustrated, you feel down on yourself, you feel despondent, you have learned helplessness. And that is great news, because now you know on what to work on. Now you know on, you have to work on keeping or learning how to take responsibility for your lives. This is what Oprah was really about. Oprah was all about learn how to take responsibility, because we all know we have to take responsibility, but how specifically do we do that? And so teaching you how to take responsibility and move out of this learned helplessness. And that's the feeling, thinking, and acting loop. So when whatever we do in life, we have a strategy for it. It's usually an unconscious strategy. It's a behavioral pattern that we have learned. So you will have a behavioral pattern, a strategy that leads you to always choose the losing trade. Strategy that leads you to always choose relationship partners who end up cheating on you. You have a strategy on choosing, getting yourself into situations where you get a boss or a job. No matter how good the job looked at the beginning, it turns out to be hell. Yeah, so these are unconscious behavioral patterns, filtering strategies, as we call them, where we achieve a certain outcome that runs on the unconscious. So this is a feeling, thinking, and acting loop. So usually what happens is we get a feeling about something, then we get a thought about it, and the thought causes us to act. What you want to do is you want to look at what's your feeling, thinking, and acting loop. Does it lead you to success? And if not, what part do we need to change in order for you to be successful? And the last one is then the critical moments exercise, where I looked at my trading over many, many months, and I said, all right, so this is the outcome I had a losing trade. What happened right before that losing trade? What caused me to get into this losing trade, or what caused me not to get out of this losing trade in time? And then I realized there's a behavioral pattern that always occurred. So I have my patterns, and I found every trader pretty much has their own patterns on what is a typical thing that they do that causes them to sabotage their trading. I talk a lot about the superhero. When I know that after 4 or 5 trades, profitable trades in a row, I start becoming superwoman syndrome or superhero syndrome, where I think I've got it, and just one more trade just to get my $50 to round up the account, and that's the trade that would make me end up in losing everything that I've made. So now I know my critical moment is 4 or 5 trades, and I get this feeling creeping up where I become careless. And that's the moment when I stop now. Whereas in the past, that was the moment when I would think, just one more trade. Yeah? Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. And even for me, I can kind of relate some of my critical moments. So I think that one is powerful. I think it's powerful to identify what we have, because those are going to be different for everyone also. It's not like one moment for everyone.
Exactly.
But they're going to be different still.
And I learned that actually from Steve Ward, the critical moments exercise. That's one of the best things that I learned from him. Wow, eye opener.
Awesome. Pillar number 2 right now. So this is a bit different. We'll get into money mindset.
Yeah, I love money mindset, and I love this quote: education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think. And this is what I was saying before. Most people who don't succeed is because they don't know how to think. And they study and they get more knowledge and more information. And if you have been to many seminars and webinars and CDs and read books, and you could have a PhD of trading, you still don't succeed, it's because you have accumulated information and wisdom and knowledge, but you have not taught yourself how to think. And what we need to look at is, just one more example. What I've found a lot is I teach traders something, and they say, oh, where do I read more up on that? And it's like, guys, you don't need to learn more. You need to apply now. Apply it into your life. Try it on, do that. But this is scary, right? This is uncomfortable for people. So they rather go and learn new stuff than training their mind to think what they have learned. So like learning a language, rather than going to the country and practice the language, they keep going to school and study how to speak the language. Same thing. Now, you have noticed that Etienne and I, we both, English is not our first language, and it's often challenging, but we throw ourselves in there and we constantly refine our language and improve and just do what needs to be done. And it's fun. Yeah? So it's the same with trading. Now, the money mindset deals with what I said before, the emotional blockages, limiting beliefs around money, value conflicts around money, what I said before, value conflict between family and making money, in the context of losing weight. It could be the conflict of wanting to lose weight and wanting to have that yummy pizza and drinking Coke, right? So it's also a value conflict between health and having fun. So all these emotional blockages need to be unearthed. It's so important. There's no way around it if you want to succeed in your trading. Then there's the systematic errors in thinking of the untrained mind. Again, this is what I mentioned before. I have not learned about financial literacy and numeracy in school. I studied business. I did not learn financial literacy and numeracy. And what I found is a really big gap for traders. Remember when we had this slide before, when we said, what is the gap between knowing what to do and not doing what we know to do? that is financial literacy and numeracy is one of those gaps. And then behavioral finance, which Etienne and I love, it's the mechanics that drive prudent decision-making processes. Again, this is different from financial literacy and numeracy. This is about how we humans are naturally wired on making decisions and how we need to be aware of that, sort of biases that we need to be aware of so that we don't fall into those traps of making bad decisions just because our brain is wired to behave like that. Yeah.
Cool.
So I think, so financial literacy is pretty much the set of skills and knowledge that allows a trader to make informed and effective decisions with all their financial resources. And we give you examples in a second. I love the examples, it's so much fun. And financial numeracy is the ability to understand numbers, statistics, and probabilities, right? Again, I don't know about you, but when I started working with hedge fund guys and insto guys and like the professional traders, I realized the really main difference between those guys and the retail traders is they understand the mathematics. And I would do the same games with them that we are going to do with you guys, and they would have the answers, the right answers instantly. They didn't even need to think about it. And I realized this is a really big gap that we need to fill in the market. And not just for your trading, for everywhere in your life. I understand why so many people have financial challenges because of that.
It's crazy.
Now,
crazy.
Yeah. So so one of the guys, a buddy of mine, he had a really good example of why financial literacy and numeracy is so important. So that's the next slide, Etienne. So he said, literacy and numeracy and keeping our performance statistics is the ability to quantify what we do in our trading. And so he said, it's the Fitbit of trading. And I totally got that when he said that. It's the Fitbit of trading, because I have a Fitbit. I know how many steps I take per day. I know what I'm eating. I know how well I have slept. I know everything about myself. And I know why I'm fit or not fit physically in my life. And it's the same with trading, right? So performance statistics, like the Fitbit, it tells us exactly what we have to do in order to perform, or why our performance has dropped off. I love that when he said that. And again, he's a master in mathematics. Yeah. Now, the thing is also
you like the example also.
You love that as
ahead.
well, right? Yeah. The thing is, I'm still not the best at mathematics. It's just not how I'm wired, and I'm still training my brain every day. But I have a lot of friends who are good with that. So everything that I have to do in terms of statistics, mathematics, possibilities, probabilities, I ask them to help me with as well. So that goes back to having a good team around you, where you have a team that covers your weaknesses. Like, I don't know much about the technology that we're using here, you know, my first time on Google Hangout, yay! But Etienne,
Totally
he's
fine.
a professional. Yeah, you've got my back, right? I feel safe with you. So yeah.
Totally fine.
Cool.
So we'll talk about the 3 steps to improve decision making. Those are really interesting, and those are, I think, the ones I still go through myself. But you can share those and talk about all the 3 steps. And I think those are going to be really important, because we talked about, and especially the importance of understanding yourself as a trader and like what you're best at. I think that's going to be like the first step here.
Yeah, exactly. Now, this philosophy I also learned from Steve Ward. First, we have to understand what actually makes a good trading decision. So yes, we get our trading methodology. If this setup is fulfilled, so if A equals B, then do C. But we know that there's so much more to it, because if it were that easy, so many more of us would succeed, right? So what actually makes a good trading decisions? How do you currently make your trading decisions? Do you second guess yourself? Do you have superhero syndrome, where you override your lack of confidence with bravery, and then, you know, ultimately jump into a trade, or you have compulsive behavior? Is your trading decision overridden by how you feel? So the trade feels good, so you enter the trade, or it doesn't feel good, so you don't get out? Or do you balance your feeling decision-making process with a rational decision-making process, because I'm very, very kinesthetic, I'm very feeling-based, and I needed to add rational, hardcore thinking strategies to make sure that my feeling is not leading me into losing trading scenarios and keeping me stuck there. Which factors affect your trading decisions? Again, you know, is it you had a shit day at work and so you jump into the trade? If you know you had a shit day at work, what do you do to make sure that you're balanced like a pendulum? Simply by understanding how you make your trading decisions. So there's so much self-observation to be done. You can improve your decision-making process already. So I feel the feeling. So yesterday I was trading. I trade several accounts, right? So on my short-term scalping account, I was doing really well in the DAX Open, and then I realized this feeling creeping up where I lose focus. I can't even explain what it is. But I got out of my trade at the 200 moving average, not knowing why, but I trusted that. And I thought 200 moving average, technically get out. And then the DAX charged back up and was like, oh man, fuck. Sorry, I was swearing. I was actually saying fuck. So, you know, it's like, man, am I so glad I got out of there. So this is where intuition, when we use it wisely, can be such a great advisor. And I feel that feeling creeping up. And this is because I know myself so well. So the next step is then having the awareness. So once you understand yourself, to practice the awareness around your decision making. So that's what I said before. When I have 3, 4, 5 winning trades in a row, I also feel this feeling of superwoman creeping up, and I know I have to stop. Even if the best trades are setting up, if I could make $1 million in my trade, I will find a way to sabotage it, to stuff it up. So I close down my computer and I go to my MT4 account where I can trade $1 per point or 10 cents per pip, where I'm not much at risk to stuffing up my results again. Yeah. So because I want to be in the game, I want to keep trading, and I want to keep practicing and training the best that I can. In what context or situation do you make the best and the worst decisions? Ask yourself. So again, did you have a great trade day at work and you come home feeling balanced? Or did you have a bad day at work and you come home feeling empty, needing to fill this emptiness with chicken and chips and chocolates and beer and trading? Also, when you're elated, I felt that when I came from, you know, after having a massage, or personally when I had a coaching session, I'm like, yep, I totally got that. I would feel elated. I would be most at risk at making bad trading decisions. So, and I was like, what's wrong? You know, I had this amazing coaching session with my own coach, and I thought I really got it, and yet I was sabotaging again. So I realized it's the extremes of the pendulum when I feel really, really elated or really, really bad about myself. What are the mistakes and the traps that you might fall into? Again, it comes to your thinking strategies. So I know traders who keep adding to the losing positions because they have so much conviction in their trade, or because one of the trading gurus said the market's going to turn here, and have so much conviction in their trading guru, they keep adding to the position, and then they run out of money, they run out of margin. And their trade might have turned out well, but it didn't because they run out of margin. For other traders is the getting out of a trade, and then the trade keeps running into that direction, and then they re-enter. So what is the one typical thing that you keep doing? So what factors, that's the next one, what factors adversely affect and support your good trading decisions? So you don't only look at where you make bad trading decisions, you also look at good trading decisions. We call that a context analysis and contrast analysis as well. So you look at the context of what you make when you make good decisions and bad decisions, and what is the contrast of under what circumstances you do make the good and the bad decisions. And once you know yourself so well, you then can start protecting yourself instead of constantly trying to fix the mess that you got yourself into. So that's step 2, awareness. And
I like it. Perhaps I can just give an example for that
yes.
last question. And this is really tricky to understand where you make good decision. But I got to figure out about maybe a month ago that I was making much of a decision when I had the notebook in front of me with the trade I was looking for, like the thing I was noticing on the chart, and just following the notebook, following the things that I wrote down in every morning. So whenever I write down like what I'm looking for the day every morning, I make better decision. And since then, I've been doing it like every morning because I know it makes me more focused, and I can spot the trade better and make the right trade eventually. So I think that's a powerful habit, but it's going to depend for everyone. Going to be different, maybe similar for every people, for every person. But I think it's a good example.
It is a fantastic example, and I think examples are really useful. And this is what I said before, where it's the theory of the knowledge of knowing what we are saying, and then
Yeah.
it's a practical application, and both are often two very different different kettle of fish. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that. Mhm. Did
And
you mean to?
I think the other thing is that even if you're like 4 years into your trading journey, you still have things to learn. You still have things to apply and ways to become better. So I think those are things that like you cannot figure out from day one necessarily, but you get to figure out over time, which is always keeping an eye open for that.
Yeah, after 15 years of trading, I still learn new things. I still have to refine my behavior. Yeah, because the reality is, unless we have 100% performance, which is unrealistic, but there's always more to learn, right? And that is realistic. So
Awesome.
never rest on our laurels. So step 3 is then to manage yourself. So step
Step
3
three, right?
is you know exactly what are your pitfalls, what are your weaknesses, what are your strengths. And now you have practical tools and strategies to manage yourself powerfully. But you need to do that. You need to implement them as well. And this is when you have the inoculation, as I said before. You get out of the constant trying to fix and trying to getting out of bad losses, where you can say in advance, I feel this feeling creeping up of I'm at risk of doing something stupid. And you go away. You call your friend and say, let's go for coffee, because otherwise I stuff up, so yeah, even calling Etienne and say, Etienne, I'm just about, I want to continue trading, but I'm just, I know I'm not in the right mindset. Just talk me out of it, please. And then to say it in straight words, Etienne would say, don't be stupid, stop trading, go and do something else. Come on, grow up, don't be such a baby. Yeah,
A
do
bunch
it
of
well.
call now. Awesome.
Yeah, exactly. All right,
Good.
so
This next
that
part is
is your
about
favorite.
understanding biases, and I think this is probably one of my favorite part ever. Something that I think you mainly introduced me to that part, the biases in trading, and since then I've kind of researched them more and tried to understand like how they happen and why they happen. And there's like so many of them, but it's really important to understand the biases and like where they come from. I think in the end, the important thing to understand is that it's kind of a survival skill we've built over time. The biases that we feel and with that we experience with, they are all like basically shortcut that the brain takes to help us make better decision, and that's done automatically. So you don't think about it. It's kind of like it happens, and it's just out of survival that we develop those. And in trading, the thing is that we have to understand how they work, because we have to understand how they impact us and what they make us do eventually. Okay, those are big things. And one of the I think the best biases that I've experimented with is the fact that you reframe your losses in some ways whenever you trade. Losses as something moving you toward your goal, or something moving you like further from your goal. And if you see them in the second way, which is like as something bad, then of course you're gonna make bad decision. And the more you see your losses bad, the more they're gonna impact you in a bad way. So understanding how the biases impact yourself is really powerful. And the next slide we'll talk about like some of them. And
You do that as well, Etienne. Go for it.
yeah, awesome. So there's a couple of biases that we've come up with, and those are the main ones. Like if you go on Wikipedia or whatever, you type up like I think mental biases, you're gonna get a list of like 200 or something pretty big.
No?
So, but not all of them are going to be impactful in trading. We need to understand the one that are gonna make us are gonna make the biggest impact. And mental accounting. Maybe Mandi, I'll ask you to just say maybe a sentence or two about that one.
Yeah, mental accounting is the famous man in the green bathrobe story where, and this is actually one of the examples, the trading examples that I mentioned before as well, when we move our stop loss because we think we can't lose anymore. So that's the mental accounting. So the man in the green bathrobe story was a story that was invented by Professor Richard Thaler, who just got the Nobel Prize, right, for his work. Amazing. And he's a really cool guy as well. He's got like 80,000 followers on Twitter, and I tweeted something and tweeted to him, and he responded to my tweet, and I was like, oh my god, this is so cool, very cool, this guy. So the man in the green bathrobe is the story of the couple that just got married and went to Las Vegas, and so he can't sleep, and in his dreams he sees this chip appearing and this number. So he thinks, maybe I just grab this chip, which incidentally was on the side of his bedside table. He said, let's go and let's go to the casino and I do a little bit of gambling. And so he kept gambling and made $100,000 out of this one chip. And then he gambled more. He made $1 million out of this chip. And he made more. He kept gambling. He kept doubling and tripling his money. And then he thought, one last gamble. All right, he did the one last gamble. And his chip was $1,000 chip. And he put everything on this one last gamble. And of course, he lost everything bar the $1,000 chip. And then he went back to the hotel room. His wife wakes up and says, well, where were you? He says, I was just out gambling. And she says, how did we go? And he said, well, we did all right. We didn't lose anything. So even though he had made like millions and millions and millions of dollars, he was telling himself and his wife that he didn't lose anything. But this is a faulty thinking, right? And this is what we do to make ourselves feel better, to placate ourselves. So when I have made a profit as a professional trader, I need to pay my rent, I need to pay my bills. This is for me like being paid from my employee. I would never ever say if I get paid my monthly wage that and then I spend that in the casino or I lose it in trading that, oh, it was nothing. And this is what we do with trading, right? We make, let's say, $1,000 profit, and then it goes back to zero because we put our stop loss to break even. And then we say, oh, it was free money anyway. No, it was not. It was money that you made. It was your payment. Yeah, that's mental accounting, trying to justify.
Awesome. Awesome. I like it. So it's like saying, let's say you were making $10,000 for that month, and then you risk all of it in one trade, right? And then you lose everything. So you could say, yeah, like at least I'm breaking even, but did you do everything you were supposed to? And the answer is going to be no, of course, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Second one is anchoring effect. And this one, I think Mandi shared on the podcast, was really powerful. Maybe just give also like one or two sentences about that one.
Okay, cool. The trader asked me recently, why is it that when I have $200 in my pocket, in my wallet, it's so much, but when I lose it in trading, it seems nothing. And so the anchoring effect here is that we look at, let's say I look at the DAX, which is 13,000 now, and 13,000 would be an anchor in my mind. And compared to 13,200 is nothing. So that would be an example of anchoring effect, where we have to remind ourselves that $200, at least here in Australia, it's something that many people work 8 hours, 10 hours for, and we can lose that in 1 minute. Yeah, so that would be an anchoring effect.
Nice.
One more?
And framing, of course, is like the way you see things, the way you frame things. I think that's when it's powerful. And like I said before, the way you frame your losses can have a big impact, and the way you frame like everything happening, basically. So if you frame every single loss you have as like a step backward, it's tough, and they make you feel the losses. Or if you frame like a big, so let's say you frame a big winning trade you have, but that was a bad trade. You frame it as a good trade because you win money. Then like, of course, you're going to perform bad in the future because all these trades are bad trades. But it's always the way you perceive things in the end. Do you have anything to add about the framing part?
Well, what I also found interesting is, you know, yes, how you hear, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, totally fun.
Okay, good. So you know how you hear people saying they had a tragedy happening, and then they say, well, that's the best thing that ever happened to me. This is also framing. I find that when bad stuff happens to us, we have the choice to say, it's the best thing that ever happened to me because we made it the best thing that ever happened to us. Because otherwise, what's the alternative? You know, depression and giving up on life. So that's also a framing. I know traders who lost $100,000, lost everything. They said it's the best thing that ever happened to me because I grew up in that moment and I decided that never, ever, ever am I going to behave like that ever again. But because they made this choice, not because they started feeling sorry about themselves and hide and commit suicide, which I also have seen tragically traders do. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Framing.
I think we had a comment on that topic earlier, but it's totally fun. I love it.
Yeah.
What's that one about? I'm not sure about that one. So.
So prospect theory is quite complex actually. And so one example of prospect theory is, so prospect theory was actually developed independently by Kahneman and Tversky, I think it was, where prospect theory is, let me just get my thoughts together. It's a way of how we frame our way of doing financial decisions. So let me just call that one up. I just want to make sure that I explain to you exactly. And so let me get back to you on this one because I just want to make sure that I say that correctly.
Awesome. Yeah. So we'll maybe go forward and cover that one later, possibly. Awesome.
Yeah.
Guys, we have a small game, and it's time to wake up. Yeah, because some of you guys have been, some of us, I don't know if you've been sleeping or what, but totally fine. Let's get back up and we'll do a small game, which is going to be really interesting to kind of outline everything we talked about so far about the biases and all that stuff. And I'll tell you guys, I'm really bad at that game, and I completely fail. But let's see if you can figure it out. You have to add up the numbers, and I want you guys to comment below with the answer. Please don't use a calculator. That's going to be like misleading. And we want you to really understand the power of all these biases that we talked about before. Add up these numbers in your mind, and then comment below with the answer once you have it. So you have 1,000. Add 40. Add 1,000. Add 30. Again 1,000. Add again 1,000. And finally 10. So what's the result? I'll wait a couple of minutes so you guys can comment below with the answer. It might take you some time to calculate, and totally fine, but make sure you do it in your mind so that we really get the power of all this this lesson right here. And I know there's kind of a delay with the videos. It might take some time, but compute this the calculation and then come up with the answer down below. And we'll have Mandi talk about the results right after.
Okay, you tell me when to talk about it.
I want people to recalculate, and that's why I want to leave them some time and have the answer below, because then, yeah, okay. So we have a couple of answers. Awesome. So okay, let's share the answer, Mandi. I don't know if we have a slide.
So
no, we don't, but go ahead.
That was something that I also got wrong. So most would get the answer 5,000, right? But the correct answer is actually 4,100 because at the very end, right, when we have to add another 10, our mind does the shortcut in thinking, which is what we call the bias, and gets us to 5,000. I can tell you, I calculated that like 4 or 5 times, and I still did not get it right. It was really crazy. It's like, what's wrong? So until I entered it into my calculator, and I was indeed 4,100. So this is the blind spots in our brain, the biases, the thinking gaps that also happen in our trading. Yeah, and this is what we want.
Wonderful.
Fun, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So
Now,
congratulations to Arley and John for the 4,100. Well done. We have 5,000, 5,400, 4,080. We have 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. Eli and Rani, congrats for the 4,100. 5,000 again, 5,000 again, 5,000 again.
And don't feel bad, right? Just take it as feedback that you need to train your brain more. Now, let me give you another one. And so, which one do you choose to get? Actually, I do one in between that we didn't do. Which one do you choose? $900 for sure, or a 90% chance to get $1,000? And the second experiment is, which one do you choose? Lose $900 for sure, or a 90% chance to lose $1,000? So this is what we call the prospect theory. And now you know why I needed to make sure that I say it in the right way.
Okay.
So prospect theory is that in problem 1 or experiment 1, which one do you choose? $900 for sure, or a 90% chance to get $1,000? Most traders or most people would choose, would be risk averse, and they would choose the $900 for sure bet. In the second experiment, which one do you choose? Lose $900 for sure, or have a 90% chance to lose $1,000? People become risk seeking. They start gambling, and they choose the 90% chance to lose $1,000. And think about it. This is what we do in trading, right? We have our profits. We bank our profits because it feels good, and we are risk averse. And then we let our losses run, hoping that it will turn around, even though the probability that it will continue running against us is so much higher. So the sure loss is very aversive, and they drive us to take the risk. So rather than taking a sure loss right now, that's what our stop loss told us, we become driven to take the risk. And this is what prospect theory is. Nothing better than giving a great example. And so you can see how we are
I think in the
You go.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. I think in the chat we had a couple of people, many people saying 900, that they would pick the 900 for sure instead of the 1,000 with 90%. But some people wanted the 90% chance of 1,000. So it's interesting for sure.
Yes.
And
it would be interesting
awesome.
if these people have trained themselves, because now with the training I have, I would also have given the right answer. Or if they are trained in mathematics.
Yeah, we have the second example, which is going to be interesting. This is from a Princeton University cognitive reflection test. I want you guys to do this one also, because this one I got it wrong completely, but go ahead and figure it out. A bat and a ball cost $1.10. $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost? And I'll give you guys like a minute or two to make sure that you do this properly and you calculate and you do everything you need to do to get the right answer. And we'll come back with the answer and all the calculation in just a minute, maybe. So you guys can comment in the chat box and let us know your result with that one. So I hope you guys have answers. Let's see in the chat box. Oh, that's interesting. Let's see. Awesome. We've got 5 cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, 10 cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, 10 cent, 5 cent, 10 cent. Interesting. It's about half and half. Would you have it at 5 cent? Awesome. I see. Interesting part. I see some people who followed your training, Mandi, who got 5 cent. And here's the answer. It's actually 5 cent. That's interesting. I like it. So maybe Mandi, can you explain a little bit like the whole thing behind that calculation and why people get it wrong?
So again, it's the mental shortcuts that our brains take, and there's two more challenges in this cognitive test in Princeton University. So we just chose the one. The if you calculate it mathematically, you can see listed as out A plus B equals $1.10. So mathematically, you can see it's 0.05. But even if I still look at the question now, the way the question was framed, my brain immediately thinks it's 10%. So if the bet and ball costs $1.10, the bet costs $1 more, of course. What you do is you deduct $1 from $1.10 and you get the cost of the ball. Makes sense, right? Still makes sense to me. 5 cents doesn't make sense. But if you look at the mathematics behind, 5 cents is the answer. And trading is the same. Where we look at the chart and we think it has to turn around, it has to do something, and our brain does those mental shortcuts and really interferes with prudent financial decision making.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, we've got some solid algebra here to show, but yeah, we won't go through all of that. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Performance metric. My favorite part, I think, of this whole webinar, which is good because it's at the end. So the best part. I love this quote by Jim Rohn. Feedback is the breakfast of champion. And for like, I've like just last week I recorded the podcast about like the lessons I've got since the beginning of my podcast, and for my podcast I never journaled. I never reflected back on how I was performing. I never got any feedback from my trading. And the day I started to get feedback is like the day I started to improve. So if we can get feedback on our trading and how we perform, then we can really start to move forward and know like a little bit where we fall short and where we perform best. Here's like, if you couldn't look at your P&L. So let's say I was showing you my trading account and I block out the P&L, I block out the graph, or you look at your trading account, your own account. How would you know you perform good if you don't look at your profit and loss or at your growth equity curve? What are the things that you have to look at every single day? And like, Mandi, maybe you can talk about this slide here,
Yeah,
or is it the
I
same
love
thing?
this one. Yeah. So this question was actually this: if you didn't ever get to see your P&L, how would you know how well you're trading? Was actually asked by Steve to me. So how do you know? And it's like, oh, I actually don't. So and since then, I always keep asking myself this question. So this one goes back to being process focused versus being outcome focused. And this is from this guy Safani Vishek. It's an Indian guy, and I love his website. It's so powerful. And he came up with this concept. He said, if you can control risk, cost, time, emotions, and you can't control your P&L, why do you keep focusing on your P&L rather than things that you can do to control your outcome? And this is so true, right? That's what we do. All we want to do is we want to look at the mirror and want to look at our P&L. Have you made money? Have you lost money? Everything else is just so much hard work. Can't be stuffed. It's not important. But every trader eventually get to the point where they have to start looking at their performance metrics: the risk, the cost, the time, and the emotion.
Yeah, awesome. And we do have a couple of like performance metrics. Basically, just to summarize a little bit, it's kind of an interpretation on how we perform. So as we said, we can only look at the P&L and say, well, I made money or I lost money, but you don't really know how well you perform. You could be making a lot of money this week and trade like the worst trader ever, or you could be losing some money and trade like the best trader ever, but you don't know like which one you have, which one. And the thing is that if you keep going in the wrong direction, eventually, like you might get some wins this week, wins next week, the week after, but in like a month or in 2 months, then you're gonna get the losses, and then it's gonna turn really bad. And that's where you want to be really careful.
And that's so true, because if I hadn't looked at my statistics, I would have never known that I performed best in the DAX, because it didn't feel like it. I had some bad losses in DAX, but also some great profits. And my hardcore statistics told me differently to how I felt about the DAX.
Awesome. Is that good? Awesome.
Yep.
Cool. So we have kind of a selection of metrics, and I'll let you, Mandy, talk about those, because you know probably them better than I do.
So if you just go back to the previous slide, there was just one what I wanted to add. So exactly here the clear insights into our behaviors. So also what I've found with doing my performance statistics is that I know what times of the year I perform best. So I know I perform really well in March, April, May, and in September, October, November, and not so well during the other months. So if I have a down month in July, I'm not really worried about it because I know it's not my strongest month anyway. I also know that I'm doing best at counter trend trading. So even if I have a trending market, I still perform better at taking the little counter trends rather than going with the flow, because as I said before, I'm not good at long-term trading. So all these weaknesses and strengths, you will only find out when you investigate your trading statistics. That's what I wanted to add. And so if you look at our metrics now, at our statistics, that tell us exactly these answers. So remember how I said before, I know 4 or 5 winning runs in a row, that's my maximum. And how do I know? Because I have the statistics here. It's in the second column on the third line, my winning numbers in a row. And I know after 3 or 4, I start losing. Also, I know my losing numbers in a row. When I started out, I realized I have a lot of losing trades in a row. So I seem to go on binge trading. And when I see my statistics black and white, I also know, oh wow, you are getting back into binge trading. You need to stop that. But if I only have a feeling I get back into binge trading, or I keep pressing the button, and I don't have the black and white hardcore statistics in front of me, it is so much easier to find an excuse, to find a reason why I'm doing what I'm doing and not do what I need to do. So you can see if your biggest winner is smaller than your biggest loser, if it is an outlier, fine. But if it is consistently like that, then something is not quite right. You can see how important those statistics are and how much information they give us about ourselves. So, do you want me to add some
And
more?
I think it's not necessary to track all of them. Yeah, I think it's not necessary to track all of them. Maybe you can pick like the ones that make most sense for your own situation. But I think having those like that are additional to just the P&L can be very useful.
I track all of them, Etienne.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's easy once you have this.
Awesome.
It's just an Excel spreadsheet. It's easy. Or it's my FX book.
Okay.
Or yeah.
Yeah, I think you get something out of every one of them for sure. But I think for someone who starts to have all of them at once might be like something you want to incorporate over time also. You
Yes.
see
Okay. Good
those.
point.
Yeah. But yeah, no, they're very powerful for sure. Now, what's the real problem? Awesome.
So yeah, so the real problem, what I found with working with, I don't know, thousands of traders by now over the years, is deep down, even though they have a brave face towards the public, deep down, they don't think they can ever make it. And that's why we have to dig deep down and shift that at the very core, so that even if they don't make it right now, they know that something can be done so they can become the trader they want to be and have the results they want to have. And the next one is, why is it that they think they can never make it? It's because most traders, they tell me they have a lack of proof that successful traders actually exist. All they see is their own trading statistics. They've never seen someone else's statistics. And so they don't have a benchmark of what is good and what is not good in terms of performance. They believe that something is wrong with them and that they don't have what it takes. So trading success is elusive, and even worse, that the something is wrong is elusive. They just can't put their finger on what it is that is not working, that is wrong with them. And if they only could find out this one thing, then they would be able to succeed. And of course, they have unrealistic expectations of what trading success looks like. A lot of traders that I start working with, when I say, so what's your goals? They say, I want to have consistent profits month in, month out, every day. And it's like, good luck.
Yeah.
I've been trying that for 15 years, still not achieved. And I don't know anyone who has achieved that. The reality is that we have good months, we have bad months, we have good days, we have bad days. and it needs to be leveled out. And we need to be realistic about that. That
Yeah.
every day is not possible. So
Resonates a lot with that last part. The fact that you could take any trader right now, like any successful trader, and you could take whatever period, and that trader could either be like a winning trader or a losing trader if you pick like bad month, and that's totally normal, I think.
And it also tells us about what is the definition about success out there, because it's not realistic what we are being told what success is. So another reason, another thing to look at. So, and the great thing is that we can change our trading results. I've seen many traders change their trading results. I have done it for myself. Over the years, for me, it took like 4 or 5 years to really accumulate everything that I needed in order to understand what it was that I had to change, and then to be like an actor. You know, I thought that was the thing that got me through. I thought, all right, so right now I obviously don't have the personality and the behavior to become successful, but I can be like an actor. Because I had a friend who was a famous actress at the time, and I just thought she can become a different person, and I can too. And you will see that when I'm in front of my screen trading, I'm a very different personality than if I'm coaching or if I'm hanging out with my friends. So the good news is there is a path to success, and you need to figure that out for yourself, what that path is. And no matter where you are right now, you can make it, because you all you need to do is you need to learn how to emotionally self-regulate yourself. So look at trading psychology, study trading psychology, study self-awareness, find out what is it that triggers you and your self-sabotaging behavior, and how to shift that into triggering, doing really good trading decisions and prudent trading behavior. Train your financial decision-making skills by studying behavioral finance, by practicing mathematics and understanding probability. Learn to become a good loser first. That was something that I had to learn, where losing was so immensely painful for me. You know, all my limiting beliefs and my fears of never being good enough, and you know, failing my family, and all that stuff came up. And to learn to be okay with losing, and to feel okay even if it was uncomfortable, and to perform at my best
And actually,
still.
let's just highlight these ones, because I think
Mhm.
you've talked about a few of them, but I just want to make sure that we highlight some of the things people can do. And the first one is trading psychology.
All right, so I jumped forward, sorry.
Okay. Totally
So
fun, yeah.
emotional self-regulation means that you know yourself so well that no matter where you're at in your emotions, you can bring yourself to a level where you need to be in order to perform well in trading. So you had a shit day at work, you need to make sure that you fill in your emotional void before you go to the computer screen. You had something amazing happening, like, I don't know, the birth of a new baby. You will feel elated. You have to make sure that you go back to balance, so that your elation doesn't interfere with your decision-making process, that you don't become a happy-go-lucky. So that is emotional self-regulation. You need to know first what is your sweet spot, when do you perform best, and then you can do a contrast analysis at any moment and realize and where you are right now in your emotions. Are you elated? Are you down on yourself? And what you need to do to get back into balance to perform well. The next one is train your financial decision-making skill. So the games that we just played before, number one, it's understanding how our brain naturally does performs financial decisions, the strategies that lay behind our results that we get, and then studying what makes a prudent financial decision and practice that more and more. Yeah, so to train your financial decision-making skill. And the next one is learn to become a good loser first. So most traders, they can't take the losses because losing is so immensely painful to them. And learning to sit with that pain and to understanding what is that pain, because that pain is not really realistic. It's not really appropriate for what we are doing. losing a human being, losing a pet, that is painful. Losing money should not have the same level of pain associated with it. If it does, then we need to dig deep and find out what is it, what beliefs do we have around ourselves, around others, around money that causes us to have this immense pain. Neuroplasticity, that's the good news, because it has proven that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Your brain can change at any time, and maybe that you're stuck in the rut of keeping stuck with losing trades, not being able to take your losses, or making the same stupid decisions over and over again, is simply a neural pathway that you have created, rather than that there's something deeply profound wrong with you. Maybe all you need to do is create new neural pathways. And with neuroplasticity, it has been proven that this is possible. And then, of course, your performance adjustments, where every day you look in the mirror and you say, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What's the market doing? How do I perform in that market? What do I need to do better tomorrow? So instead of saying, I shouldn't have done this, you say, tomorrow I will change my behavior and try this new behavior, do this new behavior, and see what the results are then. And of course, no more fairy tales. Fairy tales are really, the stories that we tell ourselves in terms of how quickly we can succeed. What is possible in terms of living a life of freedom and funky boats and cars and houses, and realize that we do go through pain. Trading is painful. Being in a drawdown can be painful. When we feel good about ourselves, it's less painful. When we had, a shitty day or shitty phase in our lives, it's more painful. It's just reality. So become realistic and don't think that you have to be superhuman to succeed. Just be who you are and deal with it. And the results will come when you focus on your performance adjustments, on your methodology, and on your behavioral patterns. So yeah, it is possible. And creating your team. What I found immensely useful, and this is what Etienne mentioned before, being around people who are supportive, being in an environment of people who understand you. I don't necessarily talk to my family about trading because I don't understand. My family loves me, so they're in fear around me. So, doesn't help, I can tell you that. So I don't tell them. I keep them safe, and I can keep myself safe from them as well. So I have a bookkeeper who's helping me, who helps me with my statistics. Super useful. I have IT support. I have family in terms of my trading family, who's helping me. So I have two families, my blood family, my trading family. Mentors. I also have coaches, because I can't see myself from the back of my eyeballs. I can only coach myself to a certain extent, but then I need someone else to look at me from the outside and point out things that I have a blind spot in. I continuously train and develop myself professionally as well as personally. So professionally, learning new ways of trading. I study what Tom Dante does. I'm a great fan of Tom Dante, for example. I do continuous personal development on looking at what else I need to learn, what else I need to clean and clear in my energy field, in my limiting beliefs and my values, adjust that constantly. So that's creating your team. That is the stuff that leads to success eventually. Sounds like a lot, doesn't it?
And this is where I've seen the most value and the most progress, like surrounding myself with more traders and people who can support me with that trading journey. Because like one thing you've noticed yourself, Mandi, is that your family is not always the best people to help you in trading, probably, unless you have like a trading family and people who are into that. But other than that, you have to find people who are supporting you in that journey. Whether it's going to be mentors, people who have like bigger goals, who are like further on the path, and those are the ones that really make the big difference for you.
That's exactly it. It was also one of the game changers for me. Because remember when I started, that was before social media, and I felt so alone with my problems. I felt so lonely, being alone at home trading, especially when you live in a foreign country. without your family. It was a lot of loneliness. And now I kind of have several families, you know, my coaching family. I hang out with a group of professional traders on Skype, institutional traders, hedge fund managers. So they're amazing guys. They keep me very grounded as well. And then, you know, on Twitter, I've got almost a great family as well. So I was asking about a plugin for MT4. I didn't have a clue. I just asked a question on Twitter, and you know, 4 or 5 people pointed me to the direction where I can get what I needed to get. So, and this is what Etienne and I wanted to create as well for as many traders as possible. Because frankly, I'm sick of seeing brokers making so much money. It's insane. You know, like when I work with traders who lose $100,000 in a day, it's like, man, you know, your broker just pocketed that. It's wrong.
Yeah.
It's just wrong. They should
Pretty
give you
insane.
50% back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And I think people tonight are taking a first step by being here and surrounding themselves with more people who have the same goals. Because we all have traders tonight in the watching this event, which is really awesome. And I think that's a good first step. Can do it, and I'm pretty happy that people do it. That these people tonight do it.
exactly. Yeah.
And that counts
Yeah.
if you're watching the replay after also. Same thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome. So you guys, you basically have 2 steps from here, and we've talked about it like every time we do a webinar. You can either try to figure out everything by yourself, which is not really the way I took. I started that way for my first 2 years, and I didn't get any result. And then I started to get in the supportive environment, which is surrounding myself with more traders, meeting more traders. And this is exactly the relationship there is between the two. This is the time below and the result on the left. Big of a result jump in a few time, or you can spend more time to get the same or less result. And that's basically the 2 choices you have. So I want you guys to comment below with your question. And I know there's going to be a lot to cover after the end, but if you have any question right now, comment below and we'll make sure to cover them all after. And I know Mandi is going to have a lot of thought for those questions for sure. So guys, let me just ask you a question now. Do you feel like this picture, right? Do you feel like a little bit confused because like you've seen a lot of information tonight, you have a lot to work on? Just tell me below how you feel. Do you feel overwhelmed? Do you feel confident you can make it? Just let me know. I think this is that Mehdi and I have been working on a kind of a program together. And if you guys are open to it, I would like to talk about it a little bit. So let me know if I can talk about that program right now. And really hard on that thing. I don't want to push it. I want you guys to like this. I'll just go ahead and talk about the program. I know Mandy's going to have a lot of discussion about that too.
So I can't see the questions, unfortunately.
Yeah, they're going to be on YouTube. It's going to be good. Cool. So David's saying a lot of information, very useful, awesome.
And that was just like the tiniest
webinar,
snippet. We wanted to run it for an hour and a half, so sorry guys that kind of carried
we
away.
had 2 hours and 15. Yeah. Okay, so Osman saying a lot of things to think. Oh, yeah, for sure. Cool. So guys, let me just introduce this a little bit. And Mandi and I have been working on a Forex Trading Psychology Mastery program. This is something that we thought about, but we want to make it different from like that there is out there. And the thing is, like the first thing I've experienced with the trading course, and this is what you'll see pretty much everywhere online, is that you have these lessons one after the other, and then you get to lesson 1, you do lesson 1, check, then you go to lesson 2, then you check, then you go to lesson 3, you check, and there's never this kind of feedback. There's never this kind of interaction with anyone, and that is what we just talk about, having a team, and that is what is lacking. There's no team, there's no collaboration, there's no support, there's no community, and that is what I think is really missing in most courses you see out there. We need the feedback, we need the interaction, we need the discussion with other people if you wouldn't want to succeed, if you want to find out what we do well and how we can improve. And I think that's everything we want to do different with that program right now. Instead of having only courses and like lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, We want to do something where we have both a mix of lessons and a mix of mentoring, a mix of interaction. So Mehdi and I came up with this 12-week program for trading psychology, especially. And I know this is a topic that you guys requested a lot. So we've got some dates here over 12 weeks that we'll do. And we want to alternate between lessons and mentoring. So every single week there's going to be a webinar like this, and kind of in a smaller group with more interaction, where there's going to be some lessons and then some mentoring. So it's going to be a group coaching session where you can ask questions, interact, talk, and pretty much ask any advice you need about your trading at this point. So that's going to be over a period of 12 weeks. And this is exactly what Mandi is doing with her clients, with the people she coach. She's not only like teaching stuff, because that's only going to get you so far. As we said, you can only get so much information, but you need to apply the information and you need to discuss with someone over time. Okay, that's really powerful. And so that's what we came up with.
Yeah, especially, you know, when you learn a concept and then you apply it and it doesn't work, you need to be able to go back to someone and say, it didn't work, can you help me with that? You know, trading, for example, you learn what island reversal pattern is, and then you see it in the chart and like, yay, island reversal pattern, you trade it and you know, you end up in a loss. And like, what happened? Why didn't it work? An experienced trader can go back to you and say, well, it didn't work because of ABC. And this is the same with the trading psychology, where things might be elusive, like looking at your performance statistics on your own. It's like so many numbers, no clue how to read them, where we then can go back to you and say, this is exactly how you read it. And this is your weakness, this is your strength, and this is what you need to work on, where you're being trained on applying rather than just being filled up with knowledge and information and just doesn't lead you anywhere. You have a PhD
and so many times
trading.
Yeah. Yeah, I have ADHD too. And so many times have I tried to email like an instructor or someone giving a course, and I didn't invest in that many courses, I agree. But so many times I tried to email the instructor and didn't get any reply, didn't get like a single response. And that's sometimes a problem. And that's what we want to try to counteract and do things different with that structure. The way we want to do things is that we understand that trading psychology is a big thing, but you also understand that trading psychology by itself isn't the only answer, right? You still have to build other things on the side. You still have to have a strategy, a methodology that you can use to trade. So we're going to break down every single session we do into two parts. The first part is the trading methodology. This is what I've been teaching the most. So this is going to help you guys get organized, have some habits, some tools, and a playbook that you can use to support your goals. That's what I've been doing so far with traders, helping them create all the habits and the strategies and the things they need to succeed. But on the other side, there's a psychology thing where you'll get to develop the psychology of a world-class trader out there that have been making a lot of progress and trading big money. That's what you'll get to develop. And Mandi just announced me today that we're going to have some guest speakers for the program that are going to come and speak about some topics, some of the big institutional guys. And I think that's going to be the best value, the best like way to learn. If you want to learn from of people, of good traders, you have to learn from the one in institution, the one trading the biggest money. And it's a whole different game. But they're going to teach you exactly what they do and exactly what they think about on a daily basis. So Mandi, maybe you can break this down of what people are going to learn throughout the program. There's many lessons, but maybe explain a little bit what that's all about.
Okay, so so in lesson 1, laying the foundations, obviously there's two parts to it. So number 1, it's understanding what makes a successful trading mindset. So that's the blueprint, like an architect, you know, who says what makes a house stable, what makes the house look good. You know, it's the golden ratio they use a lot in architecture. What makes the house functional? So you want to have the sunlight coming in during winter time and not coming in during summertime. So here in Australia, because it's so hot. So, you know, it's the same with your mindset. So understanding what makes a successful trading mindset, and then how can you develop that? So it's kind of again, like a blueprint that you can put on, because as I said before, even though we all have different stories, we all have the same coding and the same behavioral pattern that needs to be implemented. And this is what session 1 will be all about. Then you get a set of questions where you can answer those questions and start identifying what it is for you. You come back with your answers in our session 2, and we talk about it. So you give us feedback on what you discovered for yourself. You ask questions on what it was that you weren't clear about, and gaps that you identified, how you fill them, challenges, and so on. You can do it 2 ways. You can either email us privately when it's something really personal. So I had a trader who was dealing with abuse as a child, and obviously he didn't want everyone in the group to know that, so he emails me privately, gives me background on what was going on, and then we don't need to go into detail, you know, because we are only interested in patterns and codes. You're not interested in the story, but it helps me a little bit as a coach to know the context, what happens. Yeah, so you don't need to go into like deep childhood stuff, not at all. Yeah? So that's a little context. So lesson 2, it's then mastering your emotions, where I teach you the emotional guidance system and how to, number 1, understand your emotions and what they're telling you, and number 2, how to use your emotions so that there will be a source of making prudent financial decisions and part of a prudent decision-making process rather than working against you. Yeah. So rather than your emotions running you, you will be able to run your emotions. Behavioral profiling. So behavioral profiling is all about understanding yourself and how you tick, what your natural strengths and weaknesses are. And based on that, you can choose the methodology that's perfect for you without having to go through all the trials and tribulations, trials and errors, and finding out what is perfect for you. So for me, as I said, I tried long-term trading because, you know, you read on Twitter and everywhere, only the long-term traders can be successful. And I tried so hard to be a trend trader, but I couldn't succeed for many years. And then I gave up trying to be someone I'm not. And it's like, you know what? I'm short-term. I love short-term stuff. I look at my stats. Short-term stuff beats my long-term stuff. I start becoming who I am and stand for it, no matter what other people say. I don't care. And so that you will find out what is working for you. Then we need to look at the money mindset part. So what are your unconscious blocks to being ultimately wealthy? If you are not ultimately wealthy, if you don't make $10,000 a month, $100,000 a month, $1 million a month, or even $1,000 a month in your trading, they are blocks. And it doesn't matter, you know, it doesn't matter if you don't make $1 million or if you don't make 1,000. All that matters is to identify there is a block, identify what is the block, removing it so that you can then progress to the next step. And this is also talking about being realistic. A lot of traders that I start working with, they are only in a loss, and I talk about making $10,000 profits a month. You need to start slowly on your journey. Like if you have $1,000 profit, start reducing your if you have $1,000 loss, start removing your blocks so that you can move the $1,000 loss to a $900 loss, to $800 loss, to a $500 loss, to break even. With each time you remove a block, you will see the results in your trading, but not by going from minus 1,000 to plus 10,000, but by going from minus 1,000 to minus 950. Taking your brain to the gym, as we hopefully showed you, you need to study financial literacy and numeracy. You need to understand probabilities. You need to understand why is it the 65% profit loss ratio is the best number to perform at. And I remember many years ago, I had a really good stretch. I had like 90% profit loss ratio, and I met a quant. I met her for lunch, and I said, I have 90% profit loss ratio. And she looked at me like really cool, and she said, no, then there's something wrong with your methodology, because statistically this is not possible. And I thought, stupid cow, you know, don't tell me that. And I was all righteous about it. And then I realized she was right. So there is a reason why we say 1 R risk to 2 R profit. equals 65% profit loss ratio. You need to understand those numbers. And behavioral finance, this is what Etienne was talking about, our biases, our natural thinking strategies that work against us in trading, the mental accounting when we justify our behaviors. You know, most of us make our decisions based on feelings, and we try to justify them afterwards based on what we think is logic. But it is not prudent financial decision making. You need to take your brain to the gym and practice that and study that. And where we will do, number one, where you learn, you know, the theory behind. And then we do lots and lots and lots of practical application on what that looks like in your trading specifically. So how we did the prospect theory example before. Yeah. So this is how it will look like. Did
Awesome.
I explain? Yeah.
So totally what I explained. I think people get a good idea of what it's all about. And basically, what you guys get this is worth $3,000 and 9,600. No, $3,000. $3,960 for a 12-week program. Mandi's charging $330 per session, and that's the minimum price you can pay if you want to get coaching with her. That's pretty much what you get. And Mandi is also going to offer it online trader assessment with that. And maybe Mandi can just say one sentence or two about that assessment and what this is all about.
So there are certain behavioral patterns that we can see successful traders have. And what we do is we do this assessment where we see how far on the scale you are towards those behavioral patterns. And so if you're very neurotic, that means if you have a lot of drama in your life, then your chance to succeed will be very low because you will create more and more drama. It's an addiction to drama. It's nothing to be upset about. It's just something to be curious about because you can fix that. You can do something about it. But if you know where on the scale you are, then we know what to do, which resources to point you towards and what the progress path for you would be compared to someone who doesn't have much neuroticism in their life. So that's, for example, one assessment. So we assess for health, mental health, in terms of how happy are you in your life. If your that's what we call mental health well-being. If your mental well-being is low, you need to work on your well-being first before you can be successful in trading. Because if you will be trying to make yourself feel better through trading, and that will cause impulsive and compulsive behavior, yeah, and will stop you interfere with being disciplined. So that's a whole range of assessments with your behavioral patterns in terms of how do you make decisions naturally? Do you see something and you buy it straight away, or do you have to go through every shop first before you make your trading your decision? Or do you need like a sequence of information before you make a decision, or do you need a certain amount of time where you say, I want to buy this car, but give me 1 month and then I come back and I think about it? Or you say, what are the 3 reasons why I would want to buy this car? So once you understand who you are as a human being, as a person, you can then translate it into making prudent trading decisions. So for example, I'm very feeling based, as I said before, and I know that most successful traders, they have about at least 3 different pieces of information, a rational, logical piece of information before they make a trading decision. I didn't have that. And I'm not good at that naturally. So what I did is I looked at successful traders and I implemented their way of making a trading decision into my trading life. So now it's second nature to me. So that's the example.
Cool. And basically, so you guys get the whole program, the 12-week program, value of $3,960 plus the assessment, which is worth $199. Total value of $4,000 and something. Just make something clear here, guys. And this is something that people kind of talk about many times before, and I got some email on that topic too. Trading psychology is good by itself, but it's not the only thing. You cannot only learn psychology and become the best trader ever. It's going to be really useful to some extent, but there need to be these other things you learn at the same time. Things like money management, trading strategies, solid habits, And this is why, as a bonus, I've decided to give you guys access to the Academy as well. And this is where I've been putting most of my work recently. There's now 5 courses from experts to help you trade for other people. Those are things that I've built myself and with other coaches as well, other experts in different topics. There's monthly mastermind calls that we do every single month on a topic where people ask questions, they share ideas, and they interact. It's meeting other traders as well. And you get all these guides and checklists that I've built for myself. Things like tips for day trading, things like tips for how to spot chart patterns, how to trade this and that, some checklists for full strategies. And you get access to all that and more. Now, those are the courses in the Academy so far. There's, as I said, 5 or even now 6 courses. Those are the ones. And we just released last month this course with Michael Thoma on risk management. Really, really amazing, really great course. And I know the feedback on that course has been amazing so far. Some people liked it. It's really applied though. So if you are at this level where you are looking to solidify everything and get down with your risk management, like really solid, this is the course you have to go to. And there's also all these courses I've built on habits, strategies, and things to implement. These courses come with exactly what I trade, exactly what I've tested in the past, and you guys get access to all of it from day one. All those
And
from
the thing
students.
is, with trading psychology and what you just presented, your academy, it's like saying I only need my arms. When you say I only need strategy, or I only need my legs, if you say I only need to work on my psychology, you need both your arms and your legs to perform at your best. And so it's the same. They need to work hand in hand, or need to work as a team. Your psychology and your strategy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is why I think it makes a good complement. It makes a good like package so that people can get everything they need from one place, not from like 5 different people. Love it. And some testimonials from the Academy. We just had Elias. This is like 2 months ago, a month ago or so. He's been member since 2015. Recommends it to pretty much anyone who wants to get into the training business. Jahan, I don't know if John was here tonight. I'm not sure. We also have NTV Game who was here tonight, who has good comments on that topic. Mike, who's loved it. Brian also. So basically what you guys are going to get by joining tonight is the full program. It's going to be live, so it's not pre-recorded. It's not like a boring video that you guys watch.
No.
It's something we do live. We do it every week for the next 12 weeks. And the Forex Trading Psychology Mastery Program, value of $2,960, plus the trader assessment, value of $199. And the membership from my academy, the Elite membership, which is a full lifetime membership, valued at $895, over $5,000. And if all this did was, guys,
plus our guest speakers, right? Plus our guest speakers.
Plus guest speaker, of course. Yeah. Really, really amazing. And guys, if all this did was to help you build solid beliefs that empower you as a trader, would it be worth it? Like build the belief of world-class traders. Would it be worth it? If all this did was to help you stop paying for so many courses, because I know some of you guys paid many courses in the past, and you're probably going to buy more in the future. But stop getting addicted to information and start acquiring the mindset you need, the mindset of high-performing traders, which we talk about tonight. That would be worth it, I'm sure. And if you could organize a complete and tested strategy, complete methodology, would it be worth it? It's a lot, and I will pay for that for sure. So what you guys get tonight is you get these three programs, 3 bonuses, 3 payment of $197. We do it every month until the end of our program, so it's like 3 payment, and that's a really, really good offer. So you guys can get access, and the link is gonna be right here in the corners if you guys want to join. DesireToTRADE.com/go. I want to talk about the basically why coaching. That's something that people have trouble with sometimes.
Yeah, what I found is that so many traders, they rather lose $500 in a trade than spend $300 for a coaching session, and get some insights and change their lives. Get some better behavioral strategies. And I found it really, really curious. So yes, you could see 100% return on your investment just by not continuing to lose so big and so crazy amounts, giving the money to an investment in yourself rather than giving it to the broker. And of course, you know, I've been trading for 15 years. Etienne hasn't been trading as many years, but how many people did you interview with how many years of experience they had? So
I
I
didn't
know,
calculate that thing, but yeah.
yeah, you recently interviewed two friends of mine, one Goldman Sachs guy with 20 years of trading and another institutional guy. He's like all over the place, Deutsche Bank, Hong Kong Bank. He's been everywhere because he was headhunted all the time with 20 years. So you immediately inhaled almost 40 years of institutional trading experience, right? Plus all the other interviews that you did. So clever. So we will share with you everything that we do, everything that we know, the mistakes that we made, because you will learn a lot from our mistakes as well. So that saves you from making, you know, these errors, or you can catch yourself even faster when you make these mistakes. And it saves you from trial and error, finding out what works for you. And we are also, as coaches, an advocate for change. You know, we don't let you off the hook, and we will be keeping you to your highest standards and reminding you that you can be the best you want to be, and encourage you and champion you, because we believe in that. And this is what star performers do. Star performers encourage others as well. And this is what the group that we want to create. We want everyone to champion each other and help each other through tough times, because we all have tough times. It's just normal. And sometimes it's just good to have someone who says, I totally get what you're going through, and who doesn't try to make it look better and, you know, it will all be fine, and come on, you can do it. No, sometimes things are just crap, and to just say, just to hear, I get you, that, you know, that helps enormously. And so because I have studied what star performers do, I also can, and so has Etienne with his interviews, we can impart that to you, because I don't know how many of you guys have access to institutional traders and people who have made 20 million in a month, you know. So as trading coaches, we help you break bad habits. That is the hardest part. And we need you to work with us on that, and to be proactive and say, man, I'm just about to do this stupid thing again. Can you just tell me to stop? And then we go and say, stop. And help you to change your habits, to do a pattern interrupt, and to create a new habit. And you will have so much more positivity in your life, because I hope you realize, Etienne and I, we are loving to have some fun and to, you know, be lighthearted about life, and yeah, to contribute as much as we can. And so are usually our tribe, our people that we hang out with. They're fun. So.
Yeah, I like it. And one thing I like to say is you guys become part of the family whenever you join whatever my program. I believe in a student, and I believe that they need to have the best like service they could get. So they become part of my family, and we chat every day. We like exchange ideas and whatever. So for me, it's like family basically. And the other thing I add to this is that you guys get a 30-day money back guarantee. So I don't want you guys to have any risk with that. If you feel like it's not for you, or you try it, it doesn't make sense for you. I want to get you to pay for something you don't get value of. So if you don't get more out of the program than what you paid for, you shouldn't have to pay. That's my basic premise that I operate with every single day. And the question I get like really, really often is, does this require a lot of time? Like that's the question I get every day. And the thing is, by spreading the program over 12 weeks, we ensure that you're really going to transform. It's not like a 2-day thing or like a 3-day like weekend where you learn, you get all this information, and then like good luck on your side. No, like that's not what we want. So we get on a 12-week program, which means you really have time to change. You have time to get back to us, get some feedback, work out things that don't work out as you expected, and you really get to do. The other thing is that by taking you along every single step of the way, and every mistakes we've made, and everything that we tell people to do, and every lesson we've learned, you get to don't waste any time. It's like you get the clear path, and that's going to save you a lot of time. Just to remind you guys, as always, we do this every time, that this is not for everyone, but you will get to learn from a certified coach. And that is something that most people don't even get to do in their lifetime, because either they don't have the money, or they don't have the time, or they don't want to have a coach. but a certified coach can make all the difference.
I'm
And you
actually
also need to
also
commit to become a successful trader.
I'm actually also
Yeah, go
part
ahead.
of a mastermind group of professional coaches. So I continuously train myself in new coaching methodologies and refining my skills. And I pay $25,000 a year to be in that mastermind group. But I pay it happily because we pride ourselves in being the best coaches in the world. So
Yeah.
that's what you also get.
Awesome. And you also need to commit, of course, to becoming a successful trader. So if you're not sold on the idea, and I know some of you guys were pretty keen on becoming a trader, like you had these 9 and 10s. When you asked in the beginning about the check-in, how committed you were, so that's good. But you need to be committed. That's for a fact. Otherwise, you'll fall along the wind. That's not going to be good. The other thing people say often is that they cannot afford it. But what it really comes down to is how much is your time worth? Like, how much is it worth for you to spend 2 hours on an evening or during your day to find out about the strategy or find out about the tool or learn about this and that on YouTube? Of time. So if your time is not worth a lot, then do something to increase your value, but do something so that you get the most out of your time, right? You could spend this time with your family, with other people, and that would be probably a much better use of your time. What it really comes down to is this is an investment of $49 per session. Seen any course, any program at this low, and I've never seen any coaching program at this low even. Most people charge thousands of dollars for training, and they are not even going to do any support, any contact with you guys. And that's something that I wanted to break. And that's why we offer this training tonight, for a mix of course, a mix of lessons where you get to learn, but you also get to apply and to be coached along every single step of the way.
It will be so much more
Now,
useful for you if you get one tool and you implement it, than if you get 10 tools and they stay in your shelf, in your knowledge of, in your mind, never been applied.
yeah, and that works for everything. Now, the question is, do you really want to make this shift? And I'll let you, Mandi, talk about that one.
So what I found is that we all grow up with a certain type of thinking, and what trading requires is a different type of thinking. What succeeding in life requires is a different kind of thinking. There is a distinction between risky problems and safe problems. So risky problems are the problems that we create that actually keep us small. So a risky problem is a problem where I say I have no money. So sorry, that's a safe problem. The safe problem is the thing to say I have no money. A risky problem would be to say, how can I go and find that money so I can participate and become the person I want to be. I have traders who blew up their accounts and then they were like, I can never ever trade in my life again. And then I encourage them and say, this is a safe problem to say, I give up because I don't have the money. Go out and find a way. How can I make money so I can start trading again and refine my skill and eventually live the life of my dreams? Otherwise, what's the alternative? Keep living like that forever? So if you can go outside the box of your thinking, and I think it was Einstein who said, we can't solve the problems on the same level of thinking that created the problem. Meaning that if you have a problem in your life and you want to solve the problem, you need to look outside the boundaries of your thinking and learn new ways of thinking. So if you have been struggling with your trading for quite a while, then the question is, what is your thinking strategies that keeps you in that box? If you want to break through your own glass ceiling, and you know what I mean by that, like, if you're frustrated because you keep giving back your profits, or because you keep sabotaging your trading results, and you feel you're stuck in a rut right now, you have messed up financially. I see that as well a lot. And this is why we also decided to keep this program affordable, because you want to help as many people as possible. And so because a lot of people have messed up and they need to get out of their mess, maybe you're feeling a bit hopeless, lost, unsure of your next step. So we want to create this nice, safe environment for you to begin to explore what it is, why you might have found yourself in this situation again and again and again, and what it takes to get out of there. And we found that, I certainly found that so private coaching has its place, right? So there's things in life that you just want to talk to your coach about, no one else. And certain things you need to do, deep sacred patterning, deep work that you can only do on your own. But we found that in a group environment, everybody learns from everyone so much, because guess what? It is so much easier to see the mistakes in other people than to see them in ourselves. We have that blind spot. So that's why this training can definitely give you the clarity you're looking for, and we can show you how you can start to capture those opportunities. And we want to make it a transformational program with thinking outside the box, expanding the boundary conditions of your thinking, not gaining more and more knowledge and wisdom, but to really know how to think about your problems, how to understand the codes and the patterns that create those problems in the first place. That is the level that we want to train you at. And that's where the shift will happen. And I don't know anyone who actually teaches on that level, to be honest.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And guys, let's just recap all of this. Everything is here, all the information you need. So we have three offers tonight, three things we offer with the program. For a value of $5,054, you get this for 3 payment of $1. Totally worth it. And the link is right here below. Now what we'll do is we'll do the questions, question and answer. There's a couple of things I've noted during the webinar that I want to go back to. And we can answer like both Mandi and I questions. If you have any question about the program or what we talk about tonight, comment below and let us know. Comment in the chat. And we'll make sure to answer all of them right now. And there's going to be a lot. It's going to be really interesting. Let's see.
Okay.
So we've got another one really, really cool. Just find it back. Right here.
Thank you guys for
how to
staying
overcome
with
the
us
fear.
so long.
Yeah, it's been over 2 hours. That I totally agree. And I know some of you guys left, but if you watch the replay, thank you also for watching the replay and getting this far. Much appreciated. And I know you're gonna get results, so it's totally worth it. We have Osman who asks how to overcome the fear of losing. When I try to trade live, my internal voice starts to say that I'm going to lose and finally paralyze me. Mandi, maybe you want to go with that one.
So fear of losing, if we remember our two circles, the fear of losing is the story that you have, right? It's the result, it's the outcome. So what we want to look at is what is the context of your fear of losing? What is the behavioral patterns, the coding that you have in your life? And also what is the strategy that helps you to be fearful? So the question that I would have is, are you always fearful about losing? Or are there times when you're not fearful? And if there are times when you're not fearful, what is the difference? What I found often, because I don't know you, I can just talk to you about my experiences with other traders and myself as well, is that the fear of losing has several elements to it. So one element is that there's not enough clarity in the trading methodology. There's not enough structure in someone's life. So someone who has fear of losing, they often don't have a trading strategy written down step by step next to them on the trading desk. So they're operating pretty much by the seat of their pants, which is really funny because the term seat of behaving by the seat of your pants comes actually from flying, because in the dark, often people didn't know if they were upside down or where they were in their plane. So they would check the seats of their pants, their pants, in getting a direction of where they are at in their plane when the pilot fighters, also something along those lines. Sorry, I don't think I got it exactly right, but you got the gist of it. So that is one thing, a lack of structure in your life. A second reason might be what caused your fearful behavior? Is that something that you have learned in childhood, to be afraid, to be fearful because you grew up in an environment that was either threatening or that was full of uncertainty? So children who grow up with a lot of freedom they have a lot of uncertainty. They tend to be fearful either by being very risky or by being very withdrawn. So if you grew up without structure, you would have created a behavioral pattern to protect yourself from danger, and so being very fearful. So you can see there's no clear answer to it. It depends on your individual situation. And this is the moment when a little bit of context would be helpful. And this is what we're going to do with you guys. We're going to ask you to fill in a questionnaire that will help us to understand you and your situation. And so if you were to ask a question like that, I would have a little bit of context and I would be able to give you a better response. Now, how do you know to be fearful as well? What is the moment when you feel the feeling of fear creeping up? Because I can tell you the moment when you are fully aware of your fear, that is too late already. You want to know exactly what happened before, what happened before, what happened before. You were focused and determined and confident, and suddenly fear creeped up. What was it that you were saying to yourself? What were the mental images that you had in your mind? What is it that you're really afraid of? Is it an existential fear of losing everything, being homeless? Or is it a fear of being, of your peers, of being judged, of being hurt, being abandoned? Yeah, so you can see there's many, many different facets to it.
Awesome. And another question from Gek here, who says, how does one encourage oneself, as I feel I cannot seem to recognize a technical setup happens, but only after it happens. And this one, I think it's a big matter of like understanding your rules and writing your rules down here. Or if your rules are too subjective, then I think your emotions are going to come in to trading and like make you do things different, make you see things different. And that's where we talk about the biases. Like they play a big role here. Or if you see, like when you have subjective rules, it's easier for you to let fear, let doubt, let like uncertainty influence yourself whenever you trade. But if your rules are clear, they're defined, then like you have no choice to see the setup. It's going to be there in your face. And if you don't see it, then it's another problem. Maybe it's like a lack of time. You didn't like you look at the chart too fast. Time to like write down your observation, or you just like skip a chart. And that's possible. That happens. That's a risk. But the biggest reason why people don't see the setup before and only after is because they didn't get clear on their rules. Anything to add on that topic?
I'm also wondering, are you very visual? So I've got a guy in my Skype group, amazing trader, but he can't look at a chart for his life. He just can't read charts. Yeah. He's really good. He's a fundamental trader. He knows mathematics. He knows programming. He knows Python and all this stuff, which I have no clue about. So you give him a mathematical explanation of what's going to happen. He can read it straight away. You show him a chart. He's not very visual. He doesn't get it. So he's an extremely good options trader because options is very mathematical. And he sucks at charts. So it could be something around that as well for you.
Like it. And Emin was saying, as a professional athlete, losses are good for me in sport because I go back to the drawing board and focus on why I lost. I think this it does in my trading life too. And I think that's powerful. And Mandi, you probably noticed that all the sport athletes, the best athletes in the world, all have coaches because they need someone to get feedback, to go back to test their ideas, to see how they do things, and to get some reflection on how they can become better.
Exactly. And also, you know, when you have a trading situation and let's say you had a big stupid loss, just dumb, right? We all do dumb things. I certainly do. I don't know about you guys, but I do. So when you have those thoughts running around in your head, they get rotten in your mind. But if you have someone, a third party, or second, I say third party, it's you, your mind, and your coach. If you have someone else to articulate what is going on in your mind, your thoughts too, and you have to write it down, and you know someone else will receive what you're talking about, you will process the information and your trade already on a very substantial level, rather than if you don't talk to someone and it stays all stuck in your mind. So your internal chatter, your monkey mind, is very different than having to articulate it to another person. And this is why I do a lot of email coaching as well, because again, it's different if someone has to sit down and to think through what happened in a manner that, in a coherent manner, so I understand it, rather than having all this stuff going on in their mind, how stupid they are, how useless they are, how could they do that stupid mistake again, they will never make it, blah, 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 to, I saw a trade setting up, I entered the trade, I got too excited, I entered too early, got stopped out, re-entered, and then, they give me a sequence of what actually happened. So that's, and also with the email coaching, they then have a sequence of events. So they give me their story, I go back and ask questions, and then they have to think about on a very different level. So they get out of the story and out of the emotional soup, and they go into logic and reasoning and the big picture. And with the big picture, you get clarity and you get insights, and you feel you can manage yourself so much better than if you're in the emotional soup.
Totally. And guys, last chance to ask a question. If you have any question, comment below and let us know. Next time after you sign up, I'm sure some of you guys will sign up tonight or tomorrow, and that's totally fun. You're going to receive an email within the next 5 hours. That's for sure. You're going to get all the information to go to the academy and how to log in and everything, your password, all of this. And I strongly recommend you start to go through the course Power Trader. This is the course. There's 10 modules that I've built, and you can start to go through it. There's going to be important steps, important things to start with, and that's going to basically start your journeys from today or tomorrow or any day you sign up. Try to complete the online trader assessment. You're going to get the link for that I'll share with you guys soon. And also stay in touch with us. If you have any question, any topic, any struggle you have, just send us an email and we'll do our best to reply. So whenever you log into the academy, there's going to be a link to contact us, and you can contact us right away. Send us any doubt you have, any question, and we'll do our best to answer shortly.
We are also on social media.
Does that make sense?
On Twitter, on Facebook, right? So many ways.
Yeah,
nowadays.
of course. Absolutely. If you guys have any questions, comment below this video after it's done, and we'll do our best to answer the question, get back to you. And also, this is the big opportunity for you guys to move forward, and I think the next step for a lot of you guys. So if you want to join, but we look forward to see you inside, and look forward to coach you guys in the next following weeks. So thanks for being here tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah. 3 hours. You're all superstars. Fantastic.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, and we'll catch you guys pretty soon. Ciao.
Ciao.
Let me just close that.